A constant email I receive is, how did I go from being religious to being spiritual? I can only answer that predicated upon my life experiences. The things that I have experienced over the years, predicated upon my independent choices, decisions in life. I studied heavily into the three major religions of the world: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. I studied all three and was deeply into all three. That only means that not only did I read and acquire knowledge, but I applied what I learned from those three religions. And I got a lot of good out of them. But I realized that all three of these religions come up short in being holistic. I realized that these books are great for purposes of one developing their own blueprint of a moral code for themselves. That's what I discovered. The books are limited. They do contain wisdom that can help you in modern day times. However, they're very limited. So if you have a tax problem, you're not going to get much help from the book. If you have a health problem, you're not going to get much help from the book. Now, I'm saying much help. You can get help or relief. But in order to get true help, and that help being holistic, you're going to come up short in those books because those books don't cover everything. They're rudimentary. Now, they are better than nothing, but they should never be embraced as the total truth. And I know my words are very controversial, especially to those who still embrace the concepts, the doctrines or dogma, or dogmas, plural, of these three world religions. And I respect that because I am a respecter of free will. And we all have free will. So if individuals have used their free will to embrace worldly religions or religions made by man, I have no choice but to respect that. Especially if these individuals do not try to force me to embrace what they have chosen to embrace for themselves. In many cases, what people deem to be a choice is not really a choice. It has been bequeathed unto them. I have friends who are Christian and they say, "Djehuty, I don't know what you're talking about. I chose to be a Christian." You did? See, when we deal with the word chose, past tense of making a choice, when we study the word choice infers selection. And when you deal with selection or choice, you're dealing with two or more things. Because in order to choose, there has to be two or more things in which to choose from. So when I ask my Christian friends, in order for you to have chosen Christianity, what other religion have you studied in depth? And not saying that they study, because most Christians I know, they don't study. They don't even study their own Bible. But again, for the sake of friendly argument, in order to have made a choice, Bible or Christianity, and some other religion, what was that other religion that you studied the same way you studied the Bible and Christianity in order to have chosen Christianity and the Bible? Did you study Islam and the Quran the same way you chose Christianity and the Bible? No, I never read the Quran. Well, if it wasn't Islam, maybe it was Judaism. Did you study Judaism, the Torah, and all of the other writings of Judaism? Did you study them in depth the way you did Christianity and the Bible? No, I never got deep into Judaism. Christianity is the only religion. That's God's religion, the only true religion of God. But yet and still you chose to be a Christian. That means, man, that there had to be a selection. There had to be a selection between two or more things: Christianity, Islam, and or Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Confucianism, in order for you to have made a choice. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I'm going to choose that. I done read all these other books, studied all of these other religions, and I decided to go with Christianity. And I never met one that told me that they were deep into Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, or any of the other so-called world religions and or philosophies. But they chose to be a Christian and never read any other book. Of course, the mentality is flawed. You did not choose Christianity. Christianity was bequeathed unto you, usually by your parents or your guardians. It was handed down to you, and you made a choice to embrace it. You made a choice to embrace what was handed down to you. So the only choice you made was to accept something that was handed down to you. But you did not choose what was handed down to you in the sense of that you chose to believe in the quote unquote or so-called word of God as compared to various other sources of the word of God. You didn't choose in that respect. It was handed down. You say, okay, I'm gonna choose to accept it. So you chose to accept, but you did not choose from different viewpoints because you are linear minded. You're linear minded. You don't even know about the other world religions. But you make the mistake and say, I chose to be a Christian. But you're not speaking in proper context. You didn't choose in the sense of a free thinker, an independent thinker, a free person, an independent person. You didn't choose in that respect. It was handed down to you and you ran with it. And you're a proud fool saying that Christianity, for example, I'm just using Christianity as an example. Christianity is the only true religion of God. It's the only word of God. How do you know that? Have you studied anything else? I don't need to. I just know. So when you're dealing with religious people, you're dealing with individuals who don't embrace logic, who don't embrace reason. They know that what they have chosen to embrace is better than everything else, even though they have never read or studied those anything else's, which leads you right back to a linear-minded individual. And those type of individuals are not worth debating because their minds are already made up. And that is a sign of, in my opinion, foolishness. I don't need to read nothing else. This is all I need. Really. And then you look at them as far as their worldly education. When it comes to college, if the parents said, you're going to UCLA, they didn't just embrace that concept. They knew they had a choice. My mother wanted me to go to UCLA, but I wanted to go to Spelman. That was my choice. So she wanted me to go to UCLA, but I chose Spelman. Why did you choose Spelman over UCLA? And how did you do it? I went on a tour there, I saw some pictures and I studied and, and it just, Spelman was better for me. UCLA and Spelman. See, you had a choice and you compared the two and you chose Spelman. See, people do that for just about everything else in life except for when it comes to God, the higher self, the soul. They will not do it. They just will not do it. It's amazing how people will think for just about everything else except for when it pertains to themselves, the inner them, the higher self, or God, or spiritual existence, or spirituality. They do it for just about everything else. School, the job, the thing to solve mathematical equations, everything else. But when it comes to that whole God concept, many people, they won't touch it. They'll just take what has been handed down to them. And that which has been handed down to them comes from somebody else. So, in essence, when it comes to God, the higher self, spirituality, which is very, very, very important, many people are disconnected in that respect because they take something from someone else. I mean, when you deal with God or the inner self, you're dealing with that which is in you. And you're going to let somebody else interpret the inner you, the higher self, from their perspective. You ignore your own perspective and you listen to and trust others' perspective about that which is innate within self. Now, in my opinion, again, that is foolish. Because you're letting someone else give their perspective predicated upon their perception about that which is your responsibility, your duty. That's your responsibility. That's your duty. You have to do the work in that respect or that regard. You have to do the work. So, Djehuty, how did you come out of religion and get into spirituality? Now, in your natal chart, when you have Neptune and Sagittarius, that particular astrological placement denotes a very religious being or individual that will morph or have a metamorphosis, so to speak, into spirituality and being a spiritual being, a spiritual individual. It's like the caterpillar morphing into a butterfly. And religion is like a caterpillar insect is confined to the earthly realm. A caterpillar can only move on the ground. But then it morphs into a butterfly, a whole new insect, if you will, that now has wings that can take it up off the ground. It can ascend into the higher realms. That's something the caterpillar cannot or could not do. It's limited. It's limited to just the ground. That's religion. Religion can move. It can help you move. But it's linear. It's limited. In order to go up, you got to morph or change into something else. And when you morph from religion into spirituality, then you take on wings, and then you can ascend into the higher realms, which we call the spiritual realm. And see, when you get on that spiritual realm, you can look down and see things that you could not see or see clearly when you were on that realm. So things look differently. And it's like, wow, man, had I known that when I was there or on that plane or that level, man, I would have did things differently. Why? Because now you see things differently. See, and this is why you have to work on becoming spiritual. But see, people, there is no one particular way of becoming spiritual. And see, a lot of people miss that. A lot of people urge for spirituality or becoming spiritual, or I should say spiritually conscious, because we're all spiritual beings, just undergoing a physical or material experience. We're all spiritual, see. But when we become spiritually conscious, that's when our lives begin to change, because now we can see things that we couldn't see before. And we really start seeing, when you start seeing from spiritual sight, then you really start seeing things. And then life starts making sense. Now, when you're on the linear realm, which is the religious realm, you're moving, but things are linear. You can't really see things. You'd be like, man, like for example, what happened Friday? You'd be like, man, how could God let all those innocent school children, human beings, children ages 5 and 6, 7, be murdered? See, when you're into religion, you don't understand. You can't see things. And that's why a lot of people, man, are really dismayed. They claim religion, they claim belief in God, but they're confused as hell. Even though their book, that most of them don't read, explains to them that I, the Lord God, created both evil and good, or evil and peace, yin and yang. I am the author of all, good and bad, which is predicated upon perception. It's just perception what is good, it's just perception what is bad. You got to understand the importance of perception. You control perception for yourself. See, and the problem with a lot of people here in the headquarters of the matrix is that they allow other people, man, to dictate how they perceive things. And you got to understand the power of perception, man. Because, see, perception deals with sovereignty. It deals with freedom. So you got to control perception. You have the freedom to control your perception. But again, the problem with too many people, they let others do that because they don't think for themselves. They give too much power to other people. Well, Djehuty, he's a doctor of divinity. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, he went to school and he learned about God. Oh, so if you don't go to school and learn from another man, you cannot learn and know about God. That's asinine. That's absurd. He's a doctor of divinity. Well, God didn't create that. Man created that. In a school? God didn't build no schools. Man did. Your Jesus didn't go to the school of man. Your prophets of your scriptures did not go to the school, the institutions of men. They didn't do that. Now you had certain prophets like Moses, another fictional character that has relevance. He was learned in the way of the people of Kemet, learned of the ways, the sciences, but not institutionalized. See, most people who are institutionalized, they're screwed because the institution takes place in their mind. So you can take them away from the college, from the school, and they're going to act out and think in the same terms as they thought when they were in the school, the institution. That's true Institutionalization. You have been successfully institutionalized. And that's why when you're done, they can send you out into the world and don't have to worry about you. When you study the word college, it takes you back to a morpheme, a word root that means society. College is a society within the greater society. And there is a particular purpose in people attending these micro societies that are called college or colleges, as there are thousands of them. So you're going from one state of mind or frame of mind into another, especially after they get through with you. And all they need is 4 years in most cases to make you into what they want you to be, which is what I call a brickhead. Your first year into the college, they call you a freshman, a freshman. You're fresh. It's a fresh mind that has not been molded. And they begin that process in the first year of college. With 1 year under your belt, you're now ready to be a sophomore. You gotta study the words, people. You gotta study the words. Sophomore. Soph. When you study the root of the word soph or soph, S-O-P-H, it means wise or wisdom. Soph or soph, as in Sophia, sophisticated. It means wise or wisdom. The word more, the morpheme that is, it means death, as in morgue, mortuary, mortality. It means death. Soph or more, wise, wisdom, death. Now, when you look that word up in your dictionaries made by your social engineers, they say it means wise fool. Morph not only meaning death, but also a fool, meaning the death of free thinking, the death of independent thought. So ignorance is a form of death. And that's why when you look up the word sophomore, it means wise fool, which really doesn't make sense. But when you get into the occult interpretation of the fool was a very wise person. When you start studying the tarot, and you study the card dealing with the fool, the man walking with the knapsack, that's a very deep interpretation. Very deep. Because when you study the occult history of the fool, I used to wear a cap that said fool, and people were like, man, you smart, why would you call yourself a fool? But I was coming from the occult perspective, just kind of having fun with people. When you study the history of the fool was that man who on his own volition of free will left the court of the king. And when you stayed in the court of the king, the palace of the king, you were well provided for. However, you were a slave because you were dependent upon the king to provide for you. So the fool will look down while in or on the king's court, and we'll look down around the palace, the castle, and see nature, the woods. And it would spark interest in the so-called fool, or the man who would be deemed or dubbed the fool. He wanted to explore. And I'm still dealing with sophomore. I haven't forgotten, at least yet. He wanted to explore. And he made up his mind to leave the king's court. And everybody else, all the other slaves, the dependents, said, man, you out of your mind. You crazy. You gonna leave all of this? Man, we taken care of. We got sport and play. We ain't got to worry about nothing. They were happy, contented slaves. The fool, he would say, his response or retort would be, I have to go and see what's out there for myself. Because the magicians of the king would say, oh, there's nothing out there. Because it was their duty to keep people in the king's court to be slaves of the king, so the king could live like God. And that's what you have today in the form of religious leaders, political leaders. Oh, it ain't nothing out there. You leave all that spirituality and new age stuff alone. That ain't nothing. It's all about science, academia, the things made by man that man controls. These are various forms of software. So when you put that software in your hardware and hit play, which means you act on those thoughts, then you're going to get the results of that which is on that software. Whatever program is on that software, that's what's going to pop up or play on the screen. There you go. See, and that's applicable to humanity. So the fool in his pockets had a hole. And that only symbolized that the fool could not hold on to money. Basically, the fool didn't need any money for this sojourn. All the fool had was a knapsack that had a little food in it. That's it. And the fool left and went on his own to explore the beauty of nature. And the fool ended up learning that he didn't need anything, because everything that he required, nature provided for him. The fool ate apples and other fruit. The fool had shade under the trees. The fool learned about life on his own, simply from leaving the confines of the king's court, which represents so-called security, which is not security, it's insecurity. Because if the king says, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm kicking your behind out. And that breeds fear. Oh my God, if we get kicked out, we won't be able to eat, we won't be taken care of. That ain't no feeling of security. That's a feeling of insecurity. So you got to truly understand what is true security and where it comes from. It comes from within self. It's something that no one else can take away from you. It's not just the physical or the material finite things, because these things can be taken away from you. It's in here. True security comes from what's in here and what's in here, and you control that. You. See, so the so-called fool in occult philosophy understood that. But see, most people, they only understand fool as being a silly person, not smart, unintelligent. Because see, you have the worldly perspective, because the world is against the world of the occult. The word occult comes from a word root only meaning hidden wisdom. This is the wisdom that they have to hide in order to keep the people controlled. So that's why they got you in the public food system, in the colleges, the little societies working on this. They got it all set up, man. And by the age of 18, you are set. That's why legally you become an adult at age 18, because you have been successfully adulterated. You little children go to school and don't have a clue that they're being programmed to make a living, to only be of service to the matrix, and at their own detriment. See, when it comes to me, you hear all about this. Well, school, I have 2 children from an ex-wife, and so she has them in the school system, the public food system. And it's okay because I'm their father, so they get hell of a school when they're with me. I mean, really, brilliant children. But, that's her. She's, she's in the world. She works and do all of that matrix stuff. That's her choice, and I respect that. But when it comes to certain things with school and I can't make it, I don't trip. Because I say, listen, you got to understand that I know it's all BS. So I don't really want to hear about how important this is and this meeting and parent teacher night. And, if I can make it, cool. But if I can't, I don't trip on it because it's all BS. Now, yes, I don't mind them learning it because learning certain things in the public food system of the matrix, I don't mind them learning certain things because they're in the matrix, just like I'm in the matrix. So we need to learn things of the matrix in order to successfully navigate the waters of the matrix. But we will never successfully navigate the waters of the matrix with just linear, man-made education, which is really inculcation or indoctrination. We'll never be able to successfully navigate being linear. You got to have the knowledge of both worlds, spiritual knowledge and worldly knowledge, or man knowledge or man-made knowledge. So you got to spare me when it comes to that. Like I was watching the movie Peggy Sue Got Married, and I believe it was Kathleen Turner in that movie. I know Nicolas Cage was in it, but Peggy Sue was able to go back in time. And there's a scene whereby she says, because she's able to look back, because future, then she go back into the past. And she talks about school, how there are so many things that we're taught in school that we will never have a use for. See, I can't help but to learn from all the movies that I watch. I mean, that Venus aspect is when it pertains to movies, I mean, it's really large. I learn through movies. I've been watching movies my whole life as a little boy. Didn't have a clue of why I was watching certain movies. I watched the movie Shoot the Moon with Albert Finney and Diane Keaton. And it was just a great movie. The impact of divorce. When you have grown children called adults, who can't work things out, who can't express themselves, and they act stupid, and the children have to witness it, and then they become damaged from what they witnessed. It was a great movie, and I saw it as a little boy, but I didn't really understand the content of the movie because I was 10 or 11 when I watched the movie. And I was watching deep movies like that, at a very early age. But I didn't know that watching those movies would help me as a quote unquote social scientist. But looking back on things now, it all makes sense. But I remember the movie Peggy Sue. She just said there's certain things we learn in school that we just will not use. We have no use for it. So it's a lot of wasted time. A lot of wasted time. So I don't trip on all this public food crap. I'm the type, I believe in the private teachers, the homeschooling method. That's the best way to go, where the children learn at home. Because a lot of people, and I'll make a video too on homeschooling. A lot of people feel that, if your children are not homeschooled, they're going to miss out on certain things. I mean, people are so linear minded. I can't be around a lot of people. When you learn so much, man, it's really challenging to be around people who exist and operate on a very, very linear level. It's really challenging because you look back and be like, wow, now that's a mind wasted. And that truly is a terrible thing. A mind wasted. A mind wasted is a very terrible thing. But anyway, jumping back to the fool. The fool had holes in his pocket. Didn't need no money. All the fool needed was vision and the heart to fuel that vision, to do the things of that vision. That's it. So when you understand the occult story or account of the fool, you find out the fool was bold. It was bold. It takes boldness to leave the illusion of security. See, everybody who stayed behind, they didn't have the courage. They were not bold. They were dependent. Fear will make you dependent. There are a lot of people dependent on this system, the government. As corrupt as it is, they're still dependent on it. And when you study those who are dependent, they will defend that which they are dependent upon. Slaves. It's a trip how they make slaves. The whole slave making process is a trip. It really is. It really is. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to see from a panoramic view. It's very beautiful. And that's why I have so much peace in my life. People say, Djehuty, you're very peaceful. A guy came in from the Tolucan Times and he said, Djehuty, you feel, you come off as very grounded and very secure in yourself. And I am, because I understand. Now, I don't know every single thing, but I know enough. And I do know about that which I know about, that which I embrace, that which I live. I know about that. I don't know everything. I only know about that I embrace. That's what I know about, because that's me. As the ancients said, man, know thyself. So I know that which I embrace, because that which I embrace deals with self, that which is inside of me. That's what I can control, that which is inside myself. And I know myself. So I'm hell of a content. My boldness comes from being content within self, predicated upon what I know. I know my powers. I know what's in here. I know what's in here. So I'm very content. I can trust that. It will always come through for me, unlike man. And man is generic for man and woman, because people can and will fail you. But as the religious people say, God will never fail you. And I am the type of person who makes his own definitions. So when people say God, I interpret that as higher self. God is within you. Yes, the higher self is within you. And I don't trip on the names of God, the higher power, the force, the higher self. Don't trip. I just recognize that it is. And I have no duty or responsibility to explain that to other people, because everybody else has to interpret that for themselves. Everybody else has an individual relationship with that aspect of life. God, the force, the creator, the higher self, whatever you want to call it. That's a one-on-one relationship, or one-on-one. And it's irrelevant what anybody else thinks about your relationship, that one-on-one relationship with the higher self, or with God, or with the creator. Irrelevant. And see, I understand that. So I don't argue with people. That's why when I make my videos, I tell you that I am only expressing my opinions, because that severs, that eradicates any potential for debate. Because debating, in most cases, is a waste of time. I could care less what the next man or woman believes in. My only thing is, whatever it is you believe in, let it work for you. It should work for you. That's it. And there are a lot of proud fools in the world talking Jesus Christ and Christianity and Judaism and Moses and Islam and Muhammad and on to the break of dawn. Talking, the Lord and the Bible, the Quran, the Torah and Moses and Prophet Muhammad and Jesus. And when you look at their lives, man, they too are slaves. The atheist is a slave, and the religious believer, or the believer, is a slave. And the problem with most believers, I was talking to a friend Friday night, Christian brother, and he was like, Djehuty, these people, they're not believers. And see, I'm the only believer. He just kept saying believer and believer and believer. Now, I am into belief. You guys know that. But I'm not linear with it. I know belief is predicated upon knowledge. I believe in what I know, and I know in what I believe in. That's me. That's my interpretation. That's, speaking objectively, that's my opinion. That's something that I created for myself. And so that's why belief works for me, because I understand my freedom to create everything for myself. So when you hear me saying, belief and I believe, it's not in the same context as the religious person, the linear-minded person. It's just believe. They just believe in the Lord. And then they do things of the matrix. And then don't wonder why, or they wonder why. They don't know why, but they wonder why they get results that they don't desire. Then they get confused and mad at God. Because they profess God, but they do things of the world. They profess God and they do things of man. And when the fire get lit to the backside, then they question God. See, but if they would actually follow the dictates of God or creator or what we call the force, if they would follow the dictates of that, of course, being attuned to intuition, then they wouldn't have any problem. Because see, when you follow intuition, you never go wrong. See, that's God or higher self speaking to you. But many people question intuition, which means they question God or they question the higher self. They doubt. They unskillfully doubt. And when you unskillfully doubt, you have set yourself up for failure. Because unskillful doubt is the subconscious will to fail. When you doubt, you can't move forward. I don't know. It may not be there for me. It may not support me. I don't see. That's doubt. But see, when you eradicate doubt, you arrive at knowledge. You know, boom, I'm moving through this. I'm doing this because I know what's on the other side. So there's no doubt. See, people who don't doubt or who have overcome doubt, they move faster in life than those who still doubt. And when you doubt, it's because you just don't know. So what is the solution when you don't know? You must acquire knowledge so you can end up at knowing. Now back to sophomore. Wise fool. No, it only means you go from a state of mother's wit, which can be a whole separate video, mother's wit. Because when you start dealing with mother's wit, you're dealing with the power of the female. Wisdom, Sophia. How many men you know named Sophia? That's feminine. Feminine wisdom. So you go from a state of mother's wit to a state of academic death, sophomore. From wisdom, which is mother's wit, to academic death. In 2 years. You a fresh man, fresh, pure, new. Well, wait a minute, you've been on the planet for 18, 19 something years. What do you mean fresh, new? No, you are fresh and new in that society. That's your first year in that society, so they call you a freshman. In your second year, you are a sophomore. It's done now. So in your third year, you are a junior. And you got to break down the words, people. Because the word junior goes back to a word meaning a state of being young. Junior, June, juvenile. So youth. Juvenile hall is a place where they lock up the youth. Junior, the state or status of being young. But wait a minute now. 2 years have passed. So you're not getting younger. You're getting older. You're maturing. So while they're calling you a junior, you should be called a junior in your first year of college. But no, after 2 years of working on you, you are mentally in the state of a junior. Your mind is fertile ground now. And their task is almost over. They only need 4 years on average. On average. And in your fourth year, you are a senior. The state or quality of being old. More like the state or quality of being filled to the rim like a cup of brim. So 4 years of programming. So now you're ready for the macro society. You ready? But before they let you go, you have to graduate, which is a Masonic term. A lot of this information that I'm talking about pertaining to college and school, it's Masonic. After all, you go through that programming to receive a college degree. And don't Masonry deal with degrees. 7-degree York Rite Mason, 33-degree Scottish Rite Mason, degrees. See, the whole school thing was set up by the Masons anyway. You see, you talking about the brick Masons? No, the brick Masons, they build the physical temples. See, but the Masons who run the world, they deal with a form of masonry called speculative masonry. Spec. They're dealing with this. They're building up the world of this temple, right temple, left temple. They're building up the world of your mind. That's what the speculative Masons do. See, they're the ones responsible for the so-called academia, the curriculum or the curriculas. They create that because that's their perspective codified and given to you in the form of academia or curriculum. And you eat it up. And so you begin to think the way they want you to think. You begin to act the way they want you to act. You're not acting on your own accord. That's from somebody else. Because see, you didn't learn the question. You know, you want to go along to get along. You want to be a good boy or a good girl. You know, you listen to your parents. All you got to do, Johnny, go to school, make good grades, you know, go to college. You know, you can get a scholarship, go to college, and you do good in college, and you'll get a degree, and you get into the society, and because of the degree, you can get a good job, and you can make some money, and you can meet someone, a mate, and get married, and have children, and keep the cycle going. You're nothing but a rat or a hamster on a treadmill. It's the same old, same old. If you listen to the people that you look up to, your parents, the religious head, the school teacher or the professor, the instructor. If you listen to them, what we call in law, undue influence, you end up as a hamster on a treadmill, at least in most cases. I mean, because after all, there is an exception to the rule here. Many people have gone through the college maze and came out on the other side and were equipped to handle life. And everybody can't say that, you know. So this is not some type of message to make you give up on school, give up on college. No, it does serve a purpose. A lot of these books I have back here, these are worldly books. I'm in the world. I'm not of it, but I'm in it. So I got to know some things about the world. But see, I learned that I didn't have to go to an institution made of man in order to learn about the world of man. I could just purchase the books. I don't have to sit in no damn classroom. And the great thing about being autodidactic or self-taught or self-learned is you get to learn the things that you desire to learn. So you're never bored. So when I was in the public school system, I did bad in a lot of courses and a lot of subjects because I had no interest. So in the institutions of man, they force you to learn things that you have no interest in. You're not going to get the best out of people by forcing them to learn things that they have no interest in. I mean, we know what we have an interest in. I had an interest in social sciences. You didn't have to push me to that. The bell would ring, I would want to stay in the class and keep on studying and learning because my interest was there. Same thing with literature. Same thing with history. And it's like that for all of us. So when you become autodidactic and you become an independent thinker, an independent human being, you make up your mind to study the things that you desire to study, the things that you have an interest in, a passion for. You make up your mind to study them all the time, for many hours, every day, every week, every month, whatever it is. Depends on how much you like it. There were certain things I was studying, like when I got into political conspiracy. 1 hour wasn't going to suffice for me. I would read books for hours, for days, for weeks, get through one, read another. There was no limit. There was no limit. And I would lock myself up in my apartment. I had an apartment in Gardena, California, and I became a radical with the knowledge. And so while my brothers and friends and cousins would hit the clubs, run the streets, and do all that stuff that, they did back in the day. I made a choice to lock myself up in my apartment, beautiful apartment, nothing but books around, just very beautiful. And I would study all day. And I still have all of my notebooks, and I would study. And I would read from the dictionary and write down words. And I would study verbal advantage, and I would read books, and I would just study, and I would watch videotapes and just take notes. I would just watch everything that I felt was pertinent about the world. No novels and love romance stuff. No. That was something for me to learn on my own, not reading a book. And this is not to say you can't learn things, but when you start dealing with novel, this is, along the lines of imagination. So, it can be great, to help one, foment their imagination, but it's not going to crack open atoms at the same degree that occurs when you're reading things that are like pertinent in your life, finances, health, job, career, important things. And this is not to say that love and relationships are not important. I know a lot of people read the romance novels and they apply to their love life, but see, in most cases, that book is called a novel for a reason. Novel also means new. So through novels, new ideas are introduced to you. So, you read all these novels about, women, thinking about other men, then fornicating with them. And I mean, just a lot of stuff that, you already know about, things you see in the movie, things that you see on television, Housewives of Atlanta, the sluts of Milwaukee, it's things of that nature. You see, it's a new idea. And so then you begin to act like these characters in these novels. And this is not to say you can't use what's in a novel to create your own blueprint to romance. But for a lot of people, they're really shallow. They don't have anything up here that's going to ground them. So you can introduce all type of ideas in their head. People listen to songs and next thing you know, they singing a song. It could be a degenerate song too. And they just sing it, because they're not grounded here. They're not conscious here. So anything can be planted. Anything can be planted. They don't understand the power of the subconscious, what goes into them. So people start saying things and acting upon things that they're totally unaware of. So you have to be careful in what you're reading. We all have that ability to sift and to filter. But you have to be conscious in order to filter, to know what is good and what is quote unquote bad. What is quote unquote good, what is quote unquote bad. What is helpful and what is unhelpful. You have to be able to filter. And a lot of people are just unable to do that. They have, that faculty, but they're not aware of it. So, they're not using that which they are unaware of. But if they would become aware, then they could use it. And it would work for them, as it does for those who are aware of certain faculties and use them and get results. You have that at your disposal. You just have to become aware that it's there. And after becoming aware that it's there, you have to use it. So after 4 years of indoctrination, inculcation, you get to walk the straight and narrow, the straight line. That's very interesting. Now you got this whole militaristic aspect in the college setting pertaining to graduation. You get to walk the straight line. Well, it makes sense because you went to school and you learned everything that you were supposed to learn. You were a good slave, an obedient slave. So you get to walk the straight line. And you also get to wear the square mortarboard hat on your head. The little tassel hanging down that symbolizes the pestle. Because the mortarboard is what is used to stir cement. And this is why I said earlier that I refer to, people who went to school as brickheads. And bricks are made of cement. See, I was going somewhere with that. So there's a reason why we wear the square mortarboard. A square represents good. He's a square. Oh, Johnny's a square. Meaning, Johnny's a good boy. He's good. He doesn't want to do this. He's a square. Good. When you're good, you get to wear the square. So you were good in school. You learned everything you were supposed to learn. You did everything you were supposed to do. So you get to wear the square on your head. You a square head. So you get to wear the mortar board. And when cement dries, it becomes hard. You know, after 4 years of inculcation, that information, it hardens in you. You become a brickhead. In other words, you hard-headed. Can't nobody tell you nothing. Man, you went to school and got a degree. You a brickhead. You hard-headed. And like my pops, the maestro, used to say, a hard head brings on a soft ass. And that's what happens with most people who, go to the public institutions of man. They usually fall hard on their backsides. And I know a lot of people. They are after the state of falling down. I mean, they're on their backside, just knocked out. The world has knocked them out. They thought they knew it all. They got the degree, but they realize now that the degree ain't nothing. Degree can't take them no place. It's like a beautiful luxury automobile without an engine. Oh, it looks good, but it can't take you nowhere. Don't mean nothing. So you got all these people with degrees, and no disrespect to Starbucks or people who work at Starbucks at present. But now you got all these people with degrees, thousands upon thousands of dollars in debt. And now they're pouring coffee and serving pastries for nearly minimum wage. And they got debt. And there is no debt relief in sight for those who are in debt from college loans. Which this information kind of fluctuates, but in some cases, they say college debt is the #1 form of debt, at least here in the United States. And some other sources say it's the second form of debt. Because, see, in America, most Americans are up to the neck in debt, which means they are slaves. And the scripture says that the debtor is the slave of the creditor. The debtor is the slave of the creditor. You want a credit card? Credit only means debt. And people still can't figure that out. It's a game. And I know that's a separate video on credit and how they control us with credit. They control us with numbers. Social security number, driver's license number, employer or employee number. They control us with numbers, scores. Your credit number or your credit score is this. So if you maintain this, you can get this and that. If you don't, then you can't get this and that. You won't be able to make it in society because you need credit. You need debt. It's enslavement. Money, cash is still God. But the money's not backed by gold and silver. You better leave that alone. You better leave that alone. Because you're going to lose at the game if that's your thinking. It's fiat money. It's fiat money, Tootie. Man, you talking about the money angels and money, man. It's fiat. It's this, it's that. What do you use, man, to pay your bills? The ones that you do pay. What you use to pay child support? What does your woman want from you? You get those parking tickets and traffic tickets. What do you use to pay those debts? Better get away from making the excuses. Man, I'm not big on the money, man. It's fiat money anyway. Oh, so that's what you use to prevent yourself from accumulating as many dollar bills as possible. It's a game, man. I know that the word dollar is a unit of measurement. $1. I mean, it explains how messed up we are, how so successfully brainwashed, inculcated we are. They got us referring to money by a unit of measurement, dollar bill. Look it up. A dollar is a unit of measurement. $1 of gold, $1 of silver. We're going to pay you $500. Oh boy. But $500 of what? That's like going to the store or the market saying, give me 5 ounces. 5 ounces of what? Oh, I'm sorry, 5 ounces of milk. I drink liquefied cow snot called milk. Give me 5 ounces of it. Oh, sure, here you go. You owe me $50. $50 of what? I mean, they worked a number on us, man. I won't even live long enough in the flesh to talk about everything they have done unto us. Because they have done a lot on every level. Even the subtle levels, the astral plane, the etheric plane. A number has been done on us. And we aided and abetted others in doing ourselves in. It's a cold game, but it's a fun game. I like riddles. See, a lot of that has to do with placements in my natal chart. I like riddles and mazes. Like when you deal with the codes, the statutes, you know, I deal with all these people who still talk that sovereignty talk. Man, Judy, you gonna get people messed up with the stuff you talking. No, I don't. I bail people out. Because when that judge ignored your sovereign argument, you still got to answer. And if you don't know how to answer, they're going to answer for you. You're in their realm, man. They run that thing there. You still thinking that we're in a de jure government. Man, it's de facto, and that's what they know. That's what they get paid to implement. De facto government, man. This ain't no real government. It's de facto. The judge is the acting judge. He's acting like a judge. The acting prosecutor. I mean, why do you think they say that acting prosecutor? Why you can't just be the prosecutor? Who's the acting prosecutor? This man is an actor. He's acting like the prosecutor. While in a de facto realm. You can only have these things in a de jure government, a republican form of government. But the people are ignorant as hell today. So the people don't know nothing about a republican form of government. The people hate the Republican Party so much that they associate that with the word republic or Republican. They don't have a clue of what it means. They're into democracy, the rule of the mobster, mob rule, mobocracy. You don't find democracy mentioned not one time in the Constitution, but yet and still today you got a democracy. Now where you get that from? The Pledge of Allegiance. It doesn't mention democracy. It mentions republic. So where did you get democracy from? You nothing but a parakeet. You hear people like Bill Clinton and Obama and many other politicians refer to this now corporation as a democracy when it's built upon a republican form of government. And that's why after the Constitutional Convention, the wife of the mayor of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, asked Ben Franklin, well, what type of government do we have now? And Franklin retorted to her, the wife of the mayor of Philadelphia. He said, we have a republic if you can keep it. You have to work for a republican form of government. We have a republican form of government if you can keep it. And Franklin said that because he knew the thinking of the international banksters. And they already took it. Go study the Buck Act. That's federal law. Go study that. Federal government have taken over the states. No more state sovereignty. You may hear that term, but they don't have it. The federal government runs all 50 states. The states used to be sovereign. But the federal government a little tiny corporation located in the District of Columbia, controls all of the states through the fiat money. These state budgets. The states get money from the federal government. You want this money? You better implement that which comes from the federal model penal code and put it in the state penal code if you want this money. If you want money for your highways and your bridges, you better implement federal law. So state law is a reflection of federal law. It usually goes from federal government to the state of California and then the other states. Because all of the other states look to California as far as formulating their laws. And California looks to the federal government. And it makes sense because California has the largest population of all of the 50 states of the union, the corporation. It's a cold game, but it's an enjoyable game. It's a fun game. I love it. Man, how can you be here, man, and be talking that, America's a land of opportunity, man, and America's this, America's that. That's because I understand things, man. If you study, you're going to learn things, man. I mean, these people write everything in the history book. They don't hide nothing. They tell you how they conquered native people, original people. They don't hide nothing. They tell you how they brainwash and program. They tell you how you ended up with Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of these holidays, most of which are predicated upon genocide of ancient and original people. They don't hide nothing. You just don't read. You just don't read. So you a slave. See? I listen to these people. I know what time it is. They got you believing Lucifer is the devil. Lucifer only means, the shining star, illumination, enlightenment. They allegedly named their country America. They taught you in the public school system that the name comes from Amerigo Vespucci. Now, when you understand the white man and how he does things, man, this man is all about the surname. The Hudson River in New York is not the Henry River. He does not go by the first name. He goes by the last name. Property is denoted by the last name. When you women marry a man and become the property of man, whether you accept that notion or not, if you study the history, you find out it was dealing with selling women. Marriage, as we know it, was dealing with the selling of a woman, a man selling her daughter to another man for a dowry, which was money, pearls, gold, or just what have you, something physical or material. The man, then we don't really do that whole dowry thing today, but historically you saw that where a man would offer something to the father of the bride, because just keeping it real, the father was selling his daughter. He was selling his daughter. And so when he sold his daughter, her name changed from the father's last name to the name of the new man who purchased her, who became the husband. So when women get married, the last name changed. You are the property of the husband, according to the patriarchal way of doing things. Because a lot of ancient people, it was matrilineal. The last name was that of the woman, the female. That's how you traced your genealogy, your gene line. See, but the European male switched that up. So you take on the last name of the male. The male does not possess the mitochondria. The female does. Now, I know that's another subject. But this man is into surnames. So they teach you that America is named after Amerigo Vespucci. But that doesn't make sense because his last name was not Amerigo, it was Vespucci. So if we use that general logic of this man, this would be the United States of Vespucci, not Amerigo. America does not derive its name from Amerigo Vespucci. Your so-called founding fathers studied the Native Americans. That's where the League of Nations come from, set up by the Iroquois so-called Indians. The League of Nations. Even the name of your states, Mississippi, Alabama, you know, all of these names of the majority of the 50 states were taken from Native Americans. So you hear about the Florida Seminoles from the Seminole tribe of so-called Indians and Native Americans. The Washington Redskins. Now that's very derogatory. The Washington Redskins. That's an interesting story too of how Redskin, came about. I guess I'll go ahead and share it now since I didn't spark some interest. Well, Europeans used to pay for the scalp of Native Americans. It is true that Europeans would scalp off the top of the head of Native Americans and sell it for money. And typical of Europeans in most respects, they got greedy. And many Europeans began to scalp off the head of other Europeans to make money. And so those who were in charge of distributing the wealth, they would say, no, we don't want or we don't pay for white skin. We only pay for red skin. And so that's why the NFL organization, the Washington Redskins, caught hell. It's a very derogatory term. If you look at the helmet, I think they changed the logo. They had a Native American. I don't know. I don't study the Washington Redskins, but the helmets, it used to have, or it may still have, the Indian, the Native American face on it. Now, they may have changed it for an arrow or what have you. I don't watch sports like I used to. Of course, the word sport coming from the word disporting. Study that word. I'll be all around the place in my video because it's just so much, man. And when you learn, you just sit back and be like, damn, I see why we have so much discord. And I see why it is best for those in positions of power to keep people ignorant. And it ain't a race thing. I mean, these people at the top, they believe in enslaving everybody beneath them. No matter what your color, ethnicity, culture may be, they will enslave you. It's in their best interest to keep people ignorant. It really is. Ignorant people make for the best slaves. Don't ask no questions. Just go along to get along. And God forbid you start thinking independently, freely. God forbid that. Because then you're going to start asking questions. And that's the worst thing a slave can do, is ask questions. Massa, you talk about heaven so much, Massa, but Massa, I wonder how come you don't look forward to going to heaven in the sky after you die. You know, you teach it to us, and you tell us that heaven is better than life on earth. But Massa, we don't see you looking forward to that. Massa don't want to hear no talk like that. Now you start looking at Massa's house, Massa's wardrobe, Massa's den of concubines. Massa got his heaven on earth. And in order for Massa to be the king on earth and have heaven on earth, Massa has to deprive you of having the same things. Massa can't have a den of concubines if Massa don't take your wife. Massa can't have it. Massa can't have the wealth if you don't work for it, and or if he don't take your wealth from your native land. So Massa got you way up in the sky. Even in 2012, you still got people into Jesus and a so-called heaven after death. Still. That's how deep the programming is. And I know a lot of you going to get mad and unsubscribe because Djehuty is talking about Jesus and Christianity. I'm not talking about them per se. I am linking them into things. That's just not in your best interest. I have a Bible right here, the first Bible I've ever purchased. I bought this back in 1989. Look how beat up it is. If you look at the pages, you see all type of highlighting in the book in pencil marks. I don't know if you can see that this book is toe up. But I read the Bible. I'm kind of got the pages all. This sucker will fall apart, so I don't know if you guys can see, but pencil mark, notes. Adam is a race. Where did Cain get his wife from? Other people on the earth. 3 sons of Noah. Bring 2 of every kind. These are my notes from my religious days. But the point is, I still read the book from a metaphysical perspective. Everything that takes place in this book takes place inside the human body. Old Testament, New Testament. Old Testament represents the physical. New Testament represents the spiritual. First part of the book, Moses, the physical lawgiver. Second part of the book, New Testament, Jesus, the spiritual lawgiver. The book is about the human body. Crossing the Red Sea. The children of Israel representing the innocent thoughts of man. They must cross the Red River, which represents materialism. So, in order to get to the promised land, the innocent thoughts must get through the energy of the material in order to make it on the other side of the land, the promised land. The land of spiritual manifestation. Everything that you read in the book, it takes place within you. Moses is not a man. Moses is a mindset. It's a liberating mindset. But I know a lot of people are going to reject that because that's work. People just rather follow a Moses. Sorry, Moses never existed. They want to follow Jesus. Sorry, Jesus never existed. Well, we still got the book. This is an occult book, man, but it's written in a way that you have to apply hermeneutical exegesis in order to understand the book. You got work to do, man. You just can't open up this book and just take it literally at face value. You'll get yourself messed up. You have to murder people and take the spoils of war and give 10% to the king, to Obama. You got to rape, murder, pillage, enslave. You got to eat cakes made with dung or poop. You got to do all type of stuff. The women, you got to prostitute yourself, sleep with your father-in-law. All type of crazy stuff is in that book. So you got to be primed in order to read and understand that book. If not, you will get messed up. And there are a lot of people messed up in the name of the Lord because they're ignorant. They're ignorant. They're greatly ignorant. You have to create your own spiritual belief system. You have to create it. You cannot leave that up to another person. You have to take the good from religion, take the good from the Bible, the Quran, the other religious texts or textbooks, take the good and then leave the rest and move on. You got to become intelligent. You have to read the Quran, whether you're a Muslim or not, because there's a lot of wisdom in the Quran or the Quran. You have to read the Dhammapada of Buddha, the Analects of Confucius, the Apocrypha, the hidden books or the removed books of the Bible. You have to read that. You have to read the Kabbalion written by the 3 great initiatives, or the 3 initiatives, or what they call them, the neophytes. You have to read that. You got to read, people. You got to read the other books that exist from the various cultures around the world. And you will see the similarities. So all this fighting, Muslim versus Jew and Muslim versus Christian and Christian versus Jew and Muslim versus Jew is, man, it's ludicrous. Doesn't make any sense. Fighting about the same thing. There's more than one way to God or the center or the higher self. It's like the rim on a car with many spokes, all leading within. It's more than one way. So you don't have to hate or dislike other people because their way is different than your way, because they chose a different way. You don't have to dislike these individuals. You can't walk down the street with a man or a woman because they're a Seventh-day Adventist or a Jehovah's Witness, or they are a Muslim or Orthodox Muslim, a Shiite Muslim. You don't have to be like that. This man is a Jew, Orthodox Jew, Hasidic Jew. All these titles and names, man. That's why I don't deal with men. I only call myself Djehuty Maat because I have to call myself something while I'm here on this realm with other people. Because I really don't have no name. I don't. I really don't. I've studied the power of names, words, and how they are used to control. I studied it. But getting back to spirituality, you got to be bold to leave religion for spirituality. You got to be bold. I'm dealing with a lot of people right now. They know religion no longer serves them. See, key word is, a key phrase is no longer serves them, because it did at one point. It was a stepping stone or stool. And it served its purpose. Like a cane can help you while you're temporarily incapacitated or handicapped. But when you overcome the injury, you no longer need the cane. So you throw the cane away. You walk on your own. And if you don't do that, then you become dependent upon the cane. You don't even need the cane. You're dependent on that which you don't even need. It's not even helping you because you can stand on your own. If you believe that, you got to be bold. And a lot of people say, man, Djehuty is rough, man. I'm just growing distance from my lady, man. My mother, my father, my brother, my sisters. I'm becoming distant from people. Because my thinking is different. I'm just not on the same wavelength, man. And see, people are afraid of being by themselves. See, there's a difference in being lonely and alone. A loneliness is a beautiful thing. Now, loneliness, that's something different. But see, you're never alone, like you saw in the movie The Matrix. You are not alone. That's different. But you got to be bold, man, to know something is no longer serving you, to know that something is no good for you, and to stay in it for other people don't make no sense. You're going to stay in that which no longer serve you to appease other people, and they're not worthy of it. It's the crab in a barrel syndrome. Yeah, they're going to put you down, man. You stupid, man. You getting caught up in all that occult stuff, man. Djehuty, man, he got you into angels and crystals and rocks and stuff like that, man. Man, that's spookism. And you weigh that stuff. And all the stuff that these people are into, they still go to church. They still tithing, paying 10% of that which they don't have. Sinking themselves even more. These people are in the same rut. And you care about what they say. And then you look at other people who used to be in the rut and pull themselves out of the rut. And now they're balling. They're happy. They're living life on their own accord. Focus. Focus. What do you want? Do you want the rut? What's going on in the rut? I believe in the Lord, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. But you know, I'm broke. I need some money. Oh my God, my car broke down. I don't have money to get it. Do you want to be in the rut? Or do you want to be on this side over here? Balling. Well, you have no worldly issues. Your challenges now are mostly of a spiritual nature. They're within self. Your goal now is to hold up the cross while the right leg is on the serpent, meaning you've conquered your lower desires. You've activated Christ's consciousness to the point you've overcome your lower desires. Your challenges, man, are within you. It ain't dealing with the world and voting and Democrat versus Republican, Crips and blood and niggas and hoes and all this crazy stuff of the world. No. It's all about developing willpower so you can work your magic. Your challenges are within self, the realm of self, that which you can't control. There's no more boycotting and picketing, not pertaining to yourself. All you got to do is get in your space and work on yourself. Life becomes different. So you got to be bold, man, when people, the naysayers, come at you for leaving the fold. Because the fold no longer serves you. It may have never served you. But you got to be bold to leave it. Yeah, it's painful. Because you're pulling your way from people that you have bonds to. You've connected with people, man. You love and care about these people. But you got to understand the ultimate bond is here. The bond of thought. Those who share the same wavelength, the thinking of thought wavelength as you yourself do. That's the ultimate bond. So that's why your book tells you that when the siblings and the mother of Jesus came to him, they said, Jesus, your people is out here for you. And Jesus was in the temple doing this thing. He said, man, my people, my family are those in the temple with me. And I know you think it's the physical temple, but metaphysically speaking, it's the temple, right temple, left temple. It's the dome. The dome. My family are those who think like me, man. Because if they think like the man, they're going to act like the man. And then there's harmony. See, the problem with a lot of people is they hang around or convert with people who do not think like them, pertaining to very important aspects of life. Now, of course, you don't want everybody to think like you. You know, if you got two people and they thinking exactly the same, one of them is not thinking. I mean, so you never want a person where y'all just think alike. That ain't no steam, no friction. I mean, that is necessary. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. You think alike in the sense that, okay, it's free will. It's okay if this man does what he wants to do, which is different from this man here or other people. That's okay. That's free will. You know, there is no right or wrong, just perception. You know, that type of thinking, you know, on that wavelength. So that's what it means. Christ consciousness will change all of that physical, mundane allegiance. I see more people that are not my blood relatives more than I see my blood relatives. And that's like 99.9%. The people whom I work with at D Health Store, I talk to these people and see these people more than anybody, constituting a blood relative. I had to cut off the blood relatives, man. You have to be bold to do that. Man, you got to really believe in what's on the other side of the rainbow of your life, of your journey, in order to sever ties. Unhealthy ties. Unhealthy ties. This doesn't mean you don't that you have to stop caring for people or even coming around. But you cannot spend so much time around these people, or else their energy will negatively affect your energy. It's okay to go around and what's up, man, and 5 or 10 minutes and then bounce. It's like going underwater. You can hold your breath for 6, 7 minutes and you come up. You stay down too long, man, you're a goner. You stay around these people too long, you're a goner. You right back doing stuff you used to do, and now because you conscious, you know the stuff is no good for you. So as they say, to know the right and yet do the wrong is the philosophy of death. And it is. How you gonna be doing something that's wrong? I know eating meat, man. I've been a vegan for 4 years and I know meat ain't no good for me. Then why are you eating it then? I know. Oh, you do? You know? Can't do that, man. You got to be strong enough, man, to impact other people. I can go anywhere, man, and impact people. I can be amongst a room, 50 individual meat eaters, and be at home, be at peace, can hold my own. Mars and Gemini makes you quick-witted. I remember becoming a vegan, and I had this dude named Gary Freitas, and he was of the world. He would love to crack on veganism and raw foodism and just health. And I remember he said, Ernest, are you getting skinnier? I said, no, Gary, you're just getting fatter. And it affects your view. And all the women's secretaries, they just burst up laughing. They were in tears, just like, wow. I mean, I used to just make their day with the quick, witty responses. Ernest, how do you get your protein? The same way the elephant gets protein. The elephant don't eat no meat. Gets plenty of protein. The gorilla, plenty of protein. The horse, the cow, I get my protein the same way. Oh, Aaron, that just doesn't make sense. I mean, you have to eat meat to get protein. Says who? Who taught you that? Your logic is flawed, man. You telling me, man, I gotta eat meat to put meat on my body? Doesn't make any sense. That's like saying I gotta eat fingernails in order to grow fingernails. I gotta eat hair in order to grow hair. Women, you guys will have to eat booty in order to grow your booties, to grow your breasts. You gotta eat powdered breasts in order to grow your breasts. That's crazy. But he couldn't help it. He never looked into the subject on his own. He was successfully programmed in the public food system by way of the meat and dairy industry, who told him what protein was and what the best sources of protein was. He never questioned. And I was there at one point too, but I've always been a questioner. And they get us young in the matrix. Don't you question the Lord. The Lord don't like questioning. Really? Really? Then why did the Lord give me a brain? See, you're too smart for your own good. Just shut up. You think too much. Dagger. In the mind, in the brain, in the mind of a young child. They get you early. They kill you early. But you can resurrect from the dead. Now that's the real resurrection. It's not physical. You got grown people, man, who really believe in the physical resurrection of the physical dead. I mean, don't you know when you're dead, man, they take your blood out. There is no physical life absent blood, man. I mean, how the hell are you going to push a coffin up, man, 6 feet deep in the ground? I don't care if you can bench press 400 pounds. You in a casket in the ground 6 feet deep. You ain't pushing nothing up. You done got people, man, be eaten by sharks, blown up in airplane explosions. How the flesh body gonna come back together? You, man, the Lord, man, with God, all things are possible. You can't let religion make you a fool, man, and make you go against universal law. Even your character named Jesus, when Satan brought Jesus on top of the temple, to the pinnacle of the temple, and showed Jesus the kingdoms of the world. Jump, and I will give you all the kingdoms of the world. Do you ever think about that, man? If Satan is offering Jesus all the kingdoms of the world, then that means Satan owns all the kingdoms of the world. And that's what you're shooting for. Have you ever just critically thought about that? And Jesus being the Son of God, whom the Christians believe can defy universal law, could have easily just jumped down and said, see, Satan, I did it. Now I own all the kingdoms of the world. But Jesus didn't do it. Because in that case scenario, Jesus understood universal law. There's a law of gravity that all wise people respect. Belief cannot make you go against universal law. Law derives from a word that means to lie in a fixed state. I don't care how much you believe in God, whether you call God Allah, Jesus, Jehovah, Yahweh, etc. You take your behind up to a skyscraper. Go 500 feet in the air. Climb that new Freedom Tower in New York City and jump. And see if you don't meet Jesus beyond the flesh. You gone, man. That's a law. You got to respect that. So even if you're going to be religious, man, you cannot let religion make you go against natural law. You're going to get yourself messed up, man. There's certain things you got to know. You cannot take this book and go into court with this book as your defense. Now, there are certain things in this book that you can utilize when you are in a court of law, man-made law. For example, the Christ character says, be ye wise as serpents and gentle as doves. So when you got to go to court, you got to be wise. And you also got to humble yourself. Even if you know the law better than the commissioner or judge, you got to be wise. Because the judge mentality is, he or she doesn't like a smart aleck or a smart ass. They don't like that. So even though you wise, you may have to play the role of a fool or a dumb person, or a person who is not legally astute. There is a saying in the occult world that a wise man can play the role of a fool, but a fool can never play the role of a wise man. So you have to use wisdom. See, there's a way to bring the spiritual into the physical. You see, because see, the spiritual realm helps us in the mundane or physical realm, you see. But the imps of the elite, as well as the elite, they like to cut us off. That's how they control us, by cutting us off from nature. See, that's where most of our sicknesses and diseases come from. We are cut off from nature. We go against nature. And then dis-ease results. See, they got you into science, but science only comes from a word that means to know. They say Djehuty isn't into science. I don't need to be in man-made science because, see, when you deal with man-made science and scientists, they're learning about that which has already been made known. The shamans didn't go to their school, but the shamans knew things that the scientists did not know. Man had to create technology to see the auras, the human energy fields. They had to create technology. Man, but the ancient people, thousands upon thousands of years ago, they knew that men, and I'm talking generic, man and woman, human beings, had vortexes, energy centers called chakras. They knew. They could see without the technology. Science is just catching up to nature. Man, science just reveals nature. But with science, I got to go through another person's perception of nature. See, and I have my own spectacles. So I do a disservice to myself if I go through man. Now, this is not to say that man cannot help you. But when man says that this is the way, you must go here. To get there, I got a problem with that. And see, that's another thing. Too many people take authority, worldly authority. They take authority as truth rather than truth as authority. And that's why a lot of people clash with me. They clash because, man, your worldly authority is not my authority. I take truth, man, universal truth as my authority. I'm a free thinker, man. Man, if you got sources, you should quote from them. I mean, how that sound? That's giving another person too much power. Who are you quoting from? Another man. And man is not infallible. Science messes up all the time. Today, this is true. And then tomorrow, the next day, is not true. Cigarettes are healthy for you. I mean, that's what they said back in the 60s and 70s. And then in the 80s and 90s and the 2000s, oh, cigarette is not good for you. It is not healthy for you. But damn, you're the Surgeon General of the United States. You're a scientist. No. Could never trust science the way I trust nature. Could never do that. Never. Science. You got to go through science to learn about things that the ancients have already known about. The shamans, man, some deep cats. Deep. Man had to spend billions of dollars on satellite type telescopes and invest many years to learn about the dog star that the so-called outdoors backwards Dogon tribe already knew about. The so-called savages knew more about their secondary sun than the scientists. No, I'm going to trust the Dogon more than the scientists. Because the Dogons knew about the dog star thousands of years before your scientists, your modern day scientists, ever found out about it. I'm going to trust the Dogon tribe, the so-called savages. That's who I'm going to trust. So I guess that makes me a savage. Savage only means free. Civilized means enslaved. You got to study the words. And the words, uncovering the words, are very important on your spiritual sojourn. Very important. You got to study the words, man. In the beginning, the word or the words, plural, enslaved you. Therefore, studying the words can unenslave you. You got to be bold, man. You got to be bold to take the leap of faith. You got to be bold, man, to walk away from the flock. You got to be bold. You got to cut the cords from unhealthy people in order to put yourself in a space to make room for healthy people to come into your life. You will never attract Mr. Right or Mrs. Right while you are with Mr. or Mrs. Wrong. Never. Energy is very important. Very important. You got to be bold, man. You got to do what you got to do. I remember, man, the beginning days of my soul journey. At odds with my moms, pops, siblings, the whole family. Don't believe in God, huh? I said, look at this. Here's a person talking about my cousin, a female cousin. Never read the Bible. Don't know nothing about God or the devil. But yet and still Duna, my childhood name. Duna don't believe in God. Because I don't believe like her and the rest of the flock that just happens to be my blood relatives. I said, boy, that ignorance is great. Nothing like proud ignorance. I had to bounce from them. Doing the same old, having parties, smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, playing bones or dominoes. Same old, same old. And you're just watching these people. Then you hear about this person with that disease. This family member got that disease. It's crazy. And see, then you develop the knowledge to know why they suffer from the various diseases that they suffer from. And the trip thing about it is, you can talk to them all day long. It is the equivalent of talking to the wall. Because it goes in one ear and out the other. At least for the majority of your family members and friends, the people you love and care about. So it's painful. But pain is a good thing. Pain is a sensor. If you listen to it. If you are aware to listen to pain. Pain conveys a message. Man, you crazy, man. Man, what's wrong with Thanksgiving dinner, man? You ate turkey all your life. Yeah, I ate it when I was not thinking for myself. I ate it when I didn't know any better. They say when you know better, you do better. And I had family members who knew that the turkeys were injected with all type of chemicals. And even before the turkeys were slaughtered, they knew that man was taking devices to inject the semen from the male turkeys into the female turkeys. Because the synthetic hormones, the steroids used in the female birds, made them expand or develop so large that the male turkeys could not naturally copulate with them. Because the females had blown up. They couldn't copulate. So man had to create devices to inject them with semen from the male birds. Now, if you understand that, then you understand that steroids were used to blow up the female. And you eating the female turkey. That's what you're eating, man, on Thanksgiving. And not just Thanksgiving, because people eat turkey year-round now. That's one of the new so-called good white meats. Hell, human flesh is white. I don't see you eating that. There you go. There you go. Always got to mess with people. You make people think you're messing with them. Because ignorance is bliss to a lot of people. It's bliss. So they think. The ancients said ignorance is a sin. Man, I used to drink soda pop. That's before I knew about phosphoric acid, man. And saccharin and aspartame. That's before I knew. See, I know better, so I do better. Well, you too good to come around us now, man? No, I'm not too good to come around you. I'm just too smart to come around you. Because I got to protect my energy, man. And also, I don't want to come around people that I love and care about and watch them harm themselves under the banner or guise of having a good time. Of the family coming together. I don't want to be around that. Eating cornbread and chitlins called chitterlings. I don't want to be around that and have to smell that stuff and watch you people stuff your face and then sit back and light up a symbolic penis called a cigarette and drink alcohol that fries your brain, and then certain family members go in the back and smoke marijuana and fry the brain. The Native Americans, they smoked marijuana, they smoked herbs. Yeah, but they didn't smoke it every day. It was a ritual, man. They didn't smoke the peace pipe every day. That was a ritual. You people smoke the stuff every day, every single day, every day of the week, every week of the month, every month of the year. You a weed head, man. The weed will open you up and weed will make you more creative. Then why you broke, man? Why you broke? How come you haven't created a job for yourself, man? You ain't put out no creative music. What have you done, Mr. Weed Smoker? You smoke weed every damn day. You can't even get a damn job. And it requires no creativity to get a damn job. You can't even take care of your children, man. Well, I was about to say kids and kids because kid is a baby goat. Man, you can't even take care of your kids, your baby goats. Goyim, because that's what you are, Papa Goyim. I smoke weed every day, man. Weed make you creative. You can see things. And well, how come you can't see your way out of your rut? You've been unemployed for how long now? How long you been smoking weed? No, cousin, the weed ain't working for you. It ain't working for you. It's an escape. You nothing but a boy in a developed man's body or a male body. That's what you are. You can't justify that to me. Smoke has no business in your damn body. Not to the degree you people smoke. There's more than one way to get an entheogen into your system. Like drinking tea. You don't want to drink no tea though. You know you can make marijuana into a tea and drink marijuana tea. See, that ain't cool. You don't know nothing about that. That just don't look cool to you. You want to just... That's cool to you. You can vaporize it. You don't want to do that though. You want to get the Philly blunts. You want to get the Prince album, roll it up and take your black lips and stick your tongue out and lick it and roll it up and smoke it. You cheat. Because instead of getting a new joint, you got something called a roach, and you got something called roach clips to hold a little piece of the blunt between those big lips, and you just inhale it. Ain't no smoke on it either. But it gives you the appearance that you're inhaling smoke from marijuana. Light up a new Philly blunt, man. But no. I saw you smoke weed every day of your life. And you're not creative. You ain't even created a job, man. What you talking about creativity? You don't know nothing about no creativity. You a weed head, man. So accept the truth. No, I can't come around you. I mean, you think you're too good. You think you're better than us. No, you think that. That's why you said it. I never said it. I never expressed it. You did. So that's how you feel. You projecting on me. Because you know. Then my big-headed Uncle Jerry at my mother's funeral. Man, I feel sorry for Jabir's daughter. All that stuff he believe in, them philosophies, he gonna mess that little girl up. No, I don't think so, Unc. See, you of the world and stayed of the world, and therefore, you lost your son. You said you feel sorry for my daughter. My daughter's alive and well. Your son is dead. He died in your care. Because you were and are ignorant. And you're going to try to check me. You figure because you've been on the planet longer than me, you know more than me. I'm an old soul, man. I'm an old soul in a new shell. So I don't care how long you've been here. Old age does not give you seniority. The old soul has seniority over the physically old person. The genius has seniority over the person who's been on the planet longer than the genius. The genius just got here and knows. You've been here for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years and you still don't know. You don't have seniority. Not at all. No, my daughter's alive and well. But you played a role. And this is not to make you feel guilty, but you played a role in your son being dead because you were the father and you bought your son a Cutlass, a gangbanging, a gangster car here in Los Angeles, in Compton. You bought the boy the car during a serious war between the black and the brown, the African Americans and the Hispanics and or the Latinos. And the boy went out to go see Rush Hour 2, the last show, the 10 o'clock show, and missed it. So headed back to Compton. And before he headed home, he went to Tam's Burger on Rosecrans. I believe it was on Rosecrans and Central. And while the boy was at the drive-thru waiting to get his crap, some Hispanics, some Latino brothers came up and wet him, which is slang for shot him up. They shot the boy 9 times or 11 times, just holes all in his body. And his friend has to pull him over to the passenger side and drive a shot up car to his house. And you and the boy's mother came out there. And you had to witness your son in that type of state. And you got the nerve to talk about me. I would have never done no crazy stuff like that. And you used to be a blood. Well, buy your son a gang-banging car, man. Just certain cars, man, like clothes, man. You know, they are affiliated, man. They associate one to a gang, a particular gang. Or that whole gang-banging phenomenon, if you want to call it that. It links you to that. Driving around in Cadillacs, El Caminos, Suzuki Jeeps. I would have never did nothing like that. You feel sorry for my daughter, huh? No, you should have felt sorry for your son, who's now 6 feet deep. Then you had the nerve, man, to cheat on his mother with the female from around the corner. And you got the nerve to talk about me. See, I'm bold enough to break away from that nonsense. And I'm bold enough to speak on it, even in the public. I don't hide nothing. Because it is the truth that shall make you free. See, if my daughter want to go to Spelman or go to Europe, she's going to have 2 bodyguards with her everywhere she goes. Now my daughter's coming of age, happens to be tall, she's a cute little girl, so you know you got the worldly women, the mother side of the family, oh, you should be a model, you should be a model. And I don't tell my children what to do. But see, I know I have more influence on her and my children than anybody else, especially my daughters. I know that for a fact. So if you want to go off into that world, you already know who your manager is. But Daddy, you're so busy. Don't worry about that. I got that. There's no way in the world you're going into that world without me as your manager and 2 or 3 cats as your bodyguards wherever you go. That's the only way you go into that world. I mean, she is artistic and she likes to dance. She's very creative. She's a Taurus girl. And that's understandable. But she's heavy up here, loves watching Discovery Channel and just love things about nature. So that's fine. It's like my girl Ro. She's another Taurus individual. You know, some beautiful women. And so they're very artistic, you know, and so the Matrix has a platform for them. But it's a very scandalous platform, you know, very low vibrational, you see. So you don't be getting no parts defiling yourself and defaming yourself. No, not you. You can't be my daughter and wear my bra. You will not do me like Larry Fishburne's daughter did him. Because that girl's getting back at him. She don't need to be doing that. But she chooses to do that. It could be something in her natal chart. All type of dynamics, you just got to study it. So no, you made a mistake. Because I'm sorry for my daughter. My children are taken care of. They're taken care of. I know this world. I've studied this world. They're taken care of. I mean, man, how you going to be of the world? And then try to talk to a man that he knew was outside of it. See, he respected it, but he was fearful. See, when he would come around me, I would show him up and he would feel guilty. So a lot of people have to put you down to justify their inadequate state. That's what they have to do. They will project their insecurities on you. They will project objectively. That's what's going on. But you got to bounce. Man, doing a crazy, man. Ernest crazy, man. Jabir, man. Man. He off his rocker, man. He wild. Cuz is wild. I mean, that's what they said, and that's what they going to say to you. But you got to keep doing the work. Hell, you ain't here for them. They just play a supporting cast role in your life, in your script that you wrote for you. Hell, the script is about you. The movie is about you. You the star. It's your show. You care about other people. Got to learn the 86 people, man, and be cool with that. And know that something better, people better are coming into your life. You got to make room for it, man. Got to make room for it. You leaving these people because your vibration is changing, man. Birds of a feather flock together. Your vibration is changing. It's like turning the channel. You watching channel 2 and you turn to channel 4, channel 5, channel 7. It's something different on. Unless it's the news. Showing the same thing or broadcasting the same thing. But you know what I'm talking about as far as programming, regular programming. Because it's a different channel, a different frequency. You're not watching the same thing. You're not talking about the same thing. You don't have the same interest. Not anymore. Now, when you both on channel 2, you're seeing the same thing. Your interest changed, man. The channel has turned. You're in a different frequency, man, a different channel. And the other people already attuned to that channel. And so you hook up with them. You guys are seeing the same thing until you turn the channel from that channel. Frequency don't stop. Only you can stop. But you got to make up your mind to stop. Oh, I was a crazy man. I mean, they wrote me off. You know, come to think about it, man, I was written off by my family really from day one. I was written off. The black sheep of the family. The oddball, the odd one. And I'll tell you, people, it feels so good today to be where I'm at. Because now, the crazy one, the family is doing their best to get in tune with me. To get in touch with cousin or nephew. They're doing their best now. Yo, Mike, man, how can I get in touch with Djehuty, man? You know, yeah, man, I heard this commercial, man, and I heard cousin's doing big things, man, and you got his number? My little brother Mike, no, you don't give nobody my phone number. Because my family members, they are still niggas. And I dislike niggas. And I can say that publicly. I dislike them. Because niggas, they don't change. They stay the same. Yeah, man, Uncle Larry, man, trying to get in touch with you. For what? He wants some knowledge? He want a book recommendation? What does he want from me? The hand is out. I done talked to my oldest brother for 10 years. Gave him a second chance, and the hand was out. I said, look, man, if we're going to do the brother thing, you cannot ask me for no money because you've done too much harm to all of us in the name of money. You can't handle it, man. Stealing money, writing bad checks, man, messing up a baby brother's bank account. You did a lot of foul stuff, man. You stole our jewelry and pawned it, trying to be more than what you were. Went to the Valley School and just got your little weak mind all messed up. Carl, still trying to go to college. Gonna steal everybody gold, pawn and get some money. Because you trying to go to UCLA because you had a false image to keep up with. Ernest, can I wear your tennis shoes? Can I wear your gold chain? No, you can't wear it, man. You turn your back, man. This sucker, just take it. Because I got a goddamn image to project. But take your car keys and take your car, man. If he had a date trying to impress somebody, he would take your car keys, man, without your permission. My little brother coming like, Ernie, you see my keys? I'm like, no, man. Like I had them right there. Michelle, you know, everybody got their own car. Why we take your car keys? Damn, man, Shay, man, he got me. The nigga just didn't care. See, I had to bounce because I was about to kill the fool, man. I used to own a gun, man, and one day I'm like, I just can't take it no more. And man, my angels, man, they held my hand. They made my father get in the way of the gun and said, Ernest, put the gun down. I just said, Daddy, he better off dead. It's like Gator in the movie Jungle Fever, man. The boy does too much harm, man. And he's better off dead. And I felt that way. My little brother Mike felt that way. Michelle felt that way. This brother Gaffle, his whole family. He's no good with money. Our last settlement check, $6,250. This fool took everybody's money to pay off debts. Money gone down the drain. And I told my mother while she was sick, I said, Mom, put me in charge of it. But no, Shay, he's the oldest one. And I know y'all laughing, Shay. You know, Shay is, you know, in the same category of Pookie. Shay. The nigga squandered the money. I had a herbal business just getting off the ground. Squandered everybody's money. One last check of $25,000. He blows it on his bad moves. Then got the nerve to have us sign a paper. That was the last document that I didn't read. Trying to get his fool a second chance. We need to sign this paper for Moms in order to get our money. And come to find out, this sucker took out a loan. So a year later, this dude calls and says, you know, you guys took out this loan and you guys are the creditors, co-debtors. We're like, what? And I said, look at this. You try to give a nigga a chance, a second chance at that, and a nigga still screw you. Nigga, you're dead. I clipped him for 10 years. You don't, Daddy, you don't talk to your brother? Hell no, I don't. Because the nigga do too much harm and the nigga will make you hurt him. And that's why our father said, son, stay away from certain people because they will make you lose your soul. You're a good person, but they will make you hurt them. So you owe to yourself to stay the hell away from them. And that's why I bounced. I had to get the hell out of South Central Los Angeles because I could feel it. I was going to end up dead or in jail. And I wasn't all the way conscious, and I owned a gun, and you know, I was somewhat halfway crazy. I was numb in many respects, but I still had that spiritual flame in me, man, that was leading me. It said, get the hell out, man. Do that which you fear. And I had to get the hell out, man. And I had it good at the house. I mean, we had to put a lock on our goddamn dresser because he would come in and steal. Can I borrow some money? No, Shane, you can't borrow no money. The fool was still going to just take it. No respect whatsoever. He did a lot of dirt, man, a lot of harm, and I had to get the hell on because I would have killed him. And it wasn't so much the things, it's the principle, man. I just got an issue with people who just don't respect other people's property. No means no, man. You had the same amount of money I had, man. And you just squandered it. You're just going to take what you want, man. You can't do that to other people, man. Messing up other people's lives. My little brother lived with him a few years ago. They resided together. And one day my brother was coming to the apartment complex in Inglewood, and the landlord said, he said something about, you know, I hope you guys have all your stuff moved in 2 or 3 days. And my little brother was like, what? And the landlord was like, yeah, you guys been evicted. You didn't know that? Your brother didn't tell you that? Mike was, no, man, I've been paying him rent. He's like, oh yeah, you guys haven't paid rent in 2 months. You guys have been evicted. Sure enough. Shay, you ain't been paying the rent. Well, Mike, I had to do. Don't nobody want to hear no reason. I mean, this man got a little son, man. I mean, just no care for other people. I can't be around people like that because I would lose my soul, man. That's why I gotta stay away. Gotta stay away, man. And do we think he's too good? He can't come through South Central. I'll lose my life, man. Then I won't be doing no more videos, no more D-Health store. I got too much to lose messing around with niggas, man. So I can't go to the hood, man. I love the hood. I can't go. I will lose my life. I will kill somebody. I will hurt somebody. I know that. So I'm smart enough to stay the hell away. Because like my pop said, there are people out there who will make you hurt them. And see, I got that Mars energy, so I just stay the hell away. In 1994, Minister Farrakhan was speaking at Cal State Northridge. And I was, on the fence. Do I go in corporate America, get straight, or do I keep living like the street life? And I was catching hell, man. I mean, I was stressed the hell. I was working, doing some stuff with my big-headed uncle who had the nerve to talk about me and how he felt sorry for my daughter. I was working with this fool here, some corrupt stuff. And when I discovered it, man, it's like, man, I was so stressed out, man. I mean, I used to listen to Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy all the time, every day in the car on repeat mode. Don't worry, be happy. And man, it was rough. And I said, I didn't let this big head fool talk me into this. And all I was getting paid was peanuts. I said it wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. I said, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of this. And sure enough, I did. And I remember I got this little deuce in 1992 during the so-called LA Rebellion, which was a riot. Niggas just lost their mind over Rodney King. Crazy. But I purchased a gun from Western Surplus on Western here in Los Angeles. Got it for free too. Because the store burned down and they lost all the records. I got a lot of stuff for free during the riot. Got a nice camcorder. I got it all through my American Express card, but the places I got them from, they burned down. So I never got charged for the gun, the camcorder, and just a lot of other material frivolous stuff. And in 1994, and I was kind of somewhat on hard times too, because I was, from paycheck to paycheck, working a little corporate job, making peanuts. But I was just happy to just have a place to go, to be committed to and dedicated to. And the ticket was $20. And I sold the gun. I remember selling it to the dude too. It was a Russian store right there on the corner of, it was Virgil and Westmoreland. On the corner, a little Russian pawn shop. And I remember taking it there and it was loaded too. He was like, man, this is loaded. And he just had that look like black man, just gangster. And I was like, man, I didn't use it. It's just loaded, but, and I should roll around with the gun in my damn car too. I mean, I just wasn't where I am now. I just, did a lot of crazy stuff. But, the streets, man, it makes you like that. It's not that, Tupac said every cat in LA got a little gangster in him. It's not that people choose to be a certain way. It's a survival thing, man. I mean, Cass was jacking and, and mean mugging. It was just a lot of craziness, man. So it's just what you did to protect yourself. And I sold it to the Russian cat, and he only gave me $20. Like, $20? And he was like, that's it. That's all you get. And I was thinking, at least, man, $100? $20. And I took the $20, and I went to Cal State Northridge, and I purchased the ticket. And the ticket was $20. I changed from carrying a gun to not carrying a gun or not having a gun. I went from one extreme to another extreme because I was trusting in the higher powers. If I get killed, I just get killed. But I took the $20 and bought a ticket. And I just remember being at Cal State Northridge and listening to that message, which was dealing with stop the violence and, black man, when you have a gun, the truth of the matter is you're only going to kill somebody who looked like yourself, which was true because everybody I pointed my gun on looked just like me. And I just remember being in that grid of energy, man, and it was beautiful, man. And Ice Cube was there, and Ice-T was there, and Wesley Snipes. It was beautiful. I mean, just being around that environment, a lot of it had to do with the Nation of Islam, despite the flaws, but, that grid, man, going to the mosque, or just hanging out at some of the Muslim restaurants, because, you know, it was the knowledge. It was people seeking to do better, you know, and I felt safe and secure there, you know. But it was just only temporary. I had to be somewhere, you know. When you're from the streets, you know, we don't really have, you know, a lot of like opportunity to get ourselves away. I mean, don't get me wrong. We got the Boys and Girls Club, and you know, I mean, they did have chapters of the NAACP and CORE, you know, but you know, when you hood or street, that's a little bit too corny for you, you know, working on cars, because CORE had a program where they taught young men how to work on cars to become a mechanic, and that wasn't in my blood there. You know, the NAACP was a little bit too soft for me. I was more hardcore. So the Nation of Islam energy appealed to me, you see. But my core is truth. So even though I'm down with something, I'm going to look at the truth of that which I'm down with. And I'm like, oh, snap, I'm seeing some flaws amongst you guys. I mean, you got some good stuff here, you know, and you parade that, but all this other stuff here, you don't parade. And it's like, you know, I got to have the real deal. And it took me years to find out that the real deal only exists within myself. Because, you know, I had Muslim homeboys selling drugs. You know, I was part of Mosque number 27, and I was part of the Watts study group. You know, I wanted the worst aspect, you know, of the city, you know, which was Watts with brother Sharif Abdul Muhammad. And I just felt safe around the cats because, see, most of us came from gang banging. You know, I grew up in Main Street Mafia Crib Hood, and other cats grew up with Grape Street Watts, and so it was pretty much the same. I mean, it was people who were gang bangers or who came from gang banging environments who just came together and put on bow ties and suits and sold final call newspapers and bean pies and marched in the community trying to help other black people. That's pretty much all it was. And these were certain cats I went to school with, you know, and they believed in the teachings, but the teachings were not that powerful enough for them to give up their ways, their street ways, because these cats still own guns. I mean, it was a lot of scandalous stuff, man. These cats were fornicating, screwing the Christian sisters, screwing each other's women, selling dope, all type of stuff. And I'm like, I can't be a part of this, man. I didn't join this for that. You know, you get people with the glitter, but when you get in, it's more nigga stuff. There's niggas in bow ties and nigga females head wrapped up. I don't want this. I mean, you looking for holiness, man, and when you in religion, you think you got to get on a plane and go to Mecca. You think you got to go to the Wailing Wall of Jerusalem, or so-called Israel. No, man. You find out, man, that the Holy Land is right within self, man. You ain't got to go nowhere but within self. Basically, you don't have to get on no airplane and spend money. You don't have to do that. Your Hajj is within. Just like your jihad. It's within self, man. And it does not mean harming other people, man. You know, it's an internal war. It's an internal war with self. The lower self versus the higher self. That's what it is. And I remember the hell I caught in the nation because I was just asking too many questions. And I had to be true to myself. You got to be bold. And when you're dealing with these cats, you got to really be bold. So I'm thankful, man. I mean, you would never hear me condemn the gangbangers, man. The Bloods or the Crips, man. The Bunny Hunters, the APB Anthem Park Boys, the Denver Lanes, the Pyrus, the Swans, Main Street Mafia Crip, Backstreet, Front Street, East Coast, Grape Street, Hoover. I mean, because that's my fam, man. And it's that which gave me a strength. You know, so I don't do good, you know, cowarding out to anybody. You know, so I left the mosque. I left. So when Brother Adam and Sharif came over, and Sharif was a crazy cat. He was, you know, he grew up in Watts, Grape Street Watts. But he was a good brother. But, you know, Sharif was gangster. And Sharif and I, we had a bond. And I said, you know, I respect and love you, brother, but I'm not coming back. You know, and I know they wanted me to come back because I was a hell of a newspaper seller. I used to sell 200 final calls within hours. And that was no easy task, selling final call newspaper here in Los Angeles. Now, people would pull up and get the bean pie, but they didn't want no damn paper. So if they bought a bean pie, we'd get a paper away for free. And when we would go in Watts, I mean, we did a lot of stuff that the average person just wouldn't do. I mean, because we really didn't have any fear. And so we would go in the projects at night, you know. But, you know, I mean, you had certain cats like, yo, what's up, cuz? I mean, they knew certain cats. I mean, so you can go anywhere and pretty much feel safe because certain cats were Bloods, Crips, and we just went back to the hood, you know, our home place. So we didn't have no fear. We knew the people. You know, we would convert, talk to the gangbangers. It was all love. They supported us. You know, but I would be accused of talking too long. Come on, Brother Ernest, we got to move. You know, like, damn, we got to move just because they ain't buying the paper or the bean pie. I can't talk to the sister. I can't talk to the brother. And I began to see what it was about. Collecting that money for the #2 poor treasury. I said, okay, yeah, I see what this is about. And they did a lot of good, you know, but it was limited. It just wasn't for me. I asked too many questions and I saw too many flaws. And I had to be true to myself. And I said, wait a minute now. And I wanted to leave so bad, man. It was like prison, man. Sometimes they would just lock the door. The late, great Mr. Abe Muhammad would say, close the doors. Don't let nobody leave. Because members, officials would come from Chicago and they would have to raise money. We need to raise we would raise money for charity. Then we would have to raise an additional $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for these officials. I mean, it was just straight pimping, man. And no disrespect to the nation. Still got love for them, but the truth is the truth. And they would close the doors and we would be in there for an hour or two, man. That's how my little cousin used to get beat by his Christian father. I said, brother, I got to go to take my cousin. Nah, brother, nobody can leave. Are you a registered member? Yes, I am. Well, you can't leave, brother. And see, that didn't sit well with me. I said, see, I got to get the hell up out of here because I'm going to hurt some goddamn body. And so my little cousin said, that's all right, cousin, that's all right. And I'm knowing this boy father, man, was crazy as hell. And sure enough, Tuesday, man, you know, I got the word like, man, my father beat me up, man. Sorry, cousin, he threw away your Muslim books. And I said, see, you know, trying to bring somebody into the fold, and this is what I get, man. I said, no, I can't do this. Cats come to town. Mustafa Farrakhan and came through with Johnny Gill, some other cats. And, you know, they do a nice spiel, man, get you revved up. And it's like, well, FOI, we got to collect $2,000 to put these brothers on a plane. I know damn well they didn't fly into LA and not have no goddamn return ticket. They can't go back if we don't raise the money to get them back to Chicago. This is Farrakhan's son, man. What are you talking about? This cat is a millionaire. See, it's pimping. No matter how you slice the pie, it's pimping. Talking about all this stuff that the FOI shouldn't do, that they doing behind closed doors. See? And see, they wrote me off as crazy. They said, this nigga is crazy. This nigga talking to us like that. And one day I went to the mosque. I would go, Farrakhan came to the mosque in Inglewood. It was right before it got raided by the sheriffs. And one of the slaves there saw me. That's Brother Ernest right there. And so I think Halim was the captain. There was a lot of change, but Halim was the captain and Brother David did not like Brother David. Come here, Brother Ernest. And so I go into the little room and talk to him. Brother, how come you haven't been to the mosque? Why'd you leave the mosque? I said, man, I never left the mosque, man. We haven't seen you. I said, man, I'm in the metaphysical mosque. Brother, I'm talking about the physical mosque. And I said, man, I just don't choose to come here, man, you know. I said, I just came out to, you know, check out the minister, man, and I'm on my way. You know, brother, if you can't be in the fold, brother, you can't come to the mosque, don't come around. I said, no problem. You will never see me again, man. You know, and I'm out. And I'm out. And my boy Adam was there. You know, Adam let them punk him. Brother, don't talk when the minister is talking out. Bust you in your mouth. He just checked himself. And he carried that anger with him for years. And that's why he would attack the nation on the Farrakhan factor. No, you ain't punking me. I don't give a damn who you are. Because, see, I brought 105th Street with me. You ain't punking. I don't give a damn who you are. I am no punk for nobody. 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 So when they came to my house, I let them in, sit down and talk. I knew they wouldn't convince me. I'm a tourist, man. Once I make up my mind, that's that. You can't convince me to come back to the mosque, man. Even at the mosque, in front of Halim and David and them, man, I'm not coming back. You won't see me no more. Period. Man to man. Man to man. Fuck you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, man. I stay the hell away because I'll lose my life. See, if I war with anybody, I lose because, see, these people ain't doing the work that I'm doing. Nobody's going to wake up and make these type of videos consistently. They're not going to do the work that I do. That's why they're unheard of. They're unknown. They don't do the work. They don't do the work. That's why I have to stay away from certain people because I know I'll be the one who lose out. So I have to stay away. So I have to be called a punk or this and that. You better stay away. You better this and that. I have to listen to all of that because I know in this mind here what I'm capable of. But I focus on the bigger picture, and that's being here for all these people in the world who benefit from these words. That's what I stay focused on. And I'm straight. And I'm growing, and they're decreasing. And not that I get a thrill out of that, but that's just the way it is. It's like all these people, oh, they'll come to the D Health Store YouTube page, and they'll lip off, lip off, lip off, to the point they get themselves 86th. Because, see, there's a lot of people out there, they want other people to do the work, and then they want to just come on the scene. No, no, no. People worked for their subscribers, man. They worked for what they have. And you just want to just come out the blue and have a platform. Sucker, you got to work for it. You ain't did jack shit, but you supposed to know everything. Where your page at, man? Where your store at? You ain't making money. You ain't generating snaps. So as far as I'm concerned, you are insignificant because you have no works. You have no works, man. See, this spiritual sojourn, man, you got to be tough, man. Like I just tell my boys, I said, man, you got to be tough, man. You know, I mean, you be tough, but you impart the wisdom with love, man. You teach about toughness with love. Little son said, Daddy, I failed, and everybody at school was laughing at me. I said, man, that's simple to solve that. I said, all you got to do, man, is start laughing at yourself. Laugh with them. And it's over with. You take the power away. Just like that. What's the solution? Laugh at myself. Exactly. And keep it moving. You fall down, you laugh, get up, and roll. And you take the power away. But if you really care about what other people think and them laughing at you, man, it's going to impact you. You're giving them too much power. Just like that. Just a minute or two. He got the lesson just like that. You know, so my wife's like, you know, babe, go talk to him. This happened, that. It ain't nothing. I learned too much. And they sharp, so they get it. And they just keep it moving, you know. So I don't trip on my children because I see them and their growth. I mean, they get it fast. Now, my pops did a lot as far as putting stuff in my head, but not to the degree that I do my sons. Because I've learned a lot. And I can share maxims and spiritual maxims with them. And they're sharp. And they get it. Just like that. So I never worry about my children. You know, that's why I got to be on the scene with my children. Like I tell all these cats who want to be the gurus and the metaphysicians, what have you, I'm like, man, you got to be grounded, man. You got to be grounded. You got to be focused. You can't get caught up. I was watching YouTube, and it was something with my brother, Dr. Umar Johnson, and we're going to do our lecture again in March in Virginia. So stay tuned to that. But I was watching these females just rip the brother, man, because it was something about his ex-wife or girlfriend had posted a court document online, and it was dealing with these two females, and they were just, you know, Umar is a fake, and Umar is a weak man, and they were just crumbing on the brother. Of course, they're from a lower perspective, you know, because I ended up listening to a video, and I heard Dr. Umar Johnson apologize, and you know, it was brilliant words. I said, now that's a man, you know. I mean, because you know, when it comes to the women and the whole sex thing, man, to me, that's a natural dynamic, and you know, even if a person makes an errant choice, what have you, it doesn't have to take away, you know, from what they stand for and the good that they do. And so what I heard were words that, you know, it really impressed me because it's like, that's bold. It takes boldness, you know, for someone to say, listen, I'm sorry. You know, and you know, my thing is prevention is better than remedy, you know, but, you know, that's Umar and his life lesson. And, you know, he has to get his lessons from that. And I'm quite sure he is, you know, but, you know, he stood up as a man and said, listen, I'm sorry. You know, I fell, you know, in respect, you know, to being sexually intimate, you know, with these females. And I really had no business doing that. You know, it was the same thing Veronica Laxmi's father told me. You know, brother, I had no business being with her mother. You know, so, you know, just to hear me and own up, because that takes, you know, boldness, man, to just say, yo, I dropped the ball. You know, a lot of people, they'll run and hide, make excuses, what have you. You know, so, you know, from where I stand, that, you know, that's very mature to do that, you know. So I heard the brother just put some things in perspective, you know, which, you know, I was led to it because, you know, I just heard these women just crumbing on him. But anyway, I just saw all that to say that, you know, just, you got to be very careful, man, because, you know, you want to be in your children's life. You don't want to just impact society. You want to impact your children, man. So you got to be careful where you leave your seed, man. You got to be careful, you know, and, you know, and I could relate, you know, because I went through something, you know, similar where I couldn't see the children, and Umar was expressing how he hadn't seen his, I believe it's his daughter. He hadn't seen the daughter, or yeah, I think it was a daughter, yeah, because he was saying how he desires a son, but he was like he hadn't seen his daughter in a certain amount of time, and, you know, and I just felt, man, you know, I just felt, you know, and I was like, you know what, I had a good time with Umar in Virginia last year, so I called Karen. I said, Karen, hook that up. You know, you were nice enough to fly me and Umar out to Virginia, and you know, I just want to repay the favor. You know, I had just left, you know, D Herbs, and, you know, I went public on Facebook and just exposed some things. And Karen Cooper is one of the first persons who reached out to me, you know, and I'm still grateful to her for that. And, you know, my fortune has changed, you know, drastically, exponentially. So I said, sister, let's do it, and I'll pay for everything, you know. So you hook up with Umar and let him know we want to do it again. I want you on the platform this year, too, because Karen, you know, she's a hell of a raw foodist or preparer, and, you know, she got some stuff that, you know, I feel people need to hear. You know, she's hellified in the field of the raw food. So I want Dr. Umar Johnson. I want myself. I'll be on the platform, and Sister Karen, you know, and even Rona may get on the platform. It's not all worked out, you know, but it will be in the next the week or two. So, but anyway, you know, it just made me reach out, you know, to the brother, like, man, um, the brother got caught up in a situation, you know, with some uncultivated females, you know, emotionally imbalanced, and tried to smear the brother in the public. And, you know, he was in England. I wasn't able to reach out to him. You know, I just wanted to say, you know, brother, that's what just happened. You know, they emotionally hurt, and they don't use logic, brother. They come from, you know, the imbalanced heart, and they just want to smear. They want to destroy you because they feel you've destroyed them. You know, and they will use their child against you. You know, you ain't in my life. You the great Dr. Umar, and you left me, or you can have sex with me, but I can't be your woman, and this and that. You know, so they declare war on you. I know what that feels like, man. That's no joke. You know, and man, these are hurt women. Whew, they do all type of stuff because there's no logic, there's no reason. It's just all emotion and balanced emotion. You know, so they start putting court documents up on the internet, you know, and like Veronica, you know, took an innocent email and switched that. Oh, he wants to have sex with me. And that's what they do. They go in the public, man, because they want to hurt you. They want to destroy you. They want you destroyed. So even if they have to lie and contort things, man, you know, bend things, they'll do whatever to bring you down. They do that out of hurt because they are hurt and they feel the man has hurt them. They don't take personal responsibility. They just don't. And it just gets crazy. You know, so I wish the brother the best in his ordeal. You know, he's still my brother. And, you know, I've gotten some emails over the past months where people asking me about, is Dr. Umar an agent? And I'm like, you know, I got to say this. And, you know, and black folks, I mean, y'all really need to chill with that Asian talk, man. You know, I mean, hell, they even called me a goddamn agent, man. The United States government don't need agents for black people no goddamn more. The government is not going to spend millions of dollars to infiltrate a goddamn weekend drum circle. Because that's what many black folks have been reduced to, a goddamn drum circle with the likes of a goddamn Makita Valletta shaking her ass to some goddamn drum banging. Government ain't got time to infiltrate no shit like that. They don't have to infiltrate black folks. Shit, black folks are doing a perfect job, a wonderful job of destabilizing themselves and keeping themselves destabilized. They don't need no help from the government. Government ain't worried about black folks. Man, you know, the FBI tapping my phone, man, the government after me. No, that's in your head, man. You ain't doing nothing. Is Dr. Umar an agent? Agent of what, man? Of what? No, the brother's not an agent. Djehuty, is Polite an agent? Polite ain't no goddamn agent. Why? Because he got knowledge and he's saying something that the mass majority of the community, quote unquote conscious community, don't embrace? No, Polite is not no damn agent. Man, I heard Sarah Sutin said he is a Sarah Sutin said he is not an agent. These are people, man, who genuinely care for the community, man. And it's like that with a lot of the people these people attempt to help. The people they attempt to help are the ones who tear them down, man. And at some point, you know, people just get wise and say, you know what, I got to do something differently. You know, I don't have to be in the hood to help the hood. I don't have to be in the community to help the community. I can get more done outside of the community because it's too much unnecessary BS. Polite is kicking straight wisdom. I got nothing but love for Polite. Man, Djehuty, you diss polygyny, man, and Polite is into polygyny. You never heard me diss Polite? Because if you into polygyny, then I'm going to point to Polite as your example. Because I like what I see from Polite. That's his thing. He ain't got a problem with it. His women don't have a problem with it. Now, it's not that I can't handle polygyny. I could have a harem of goddamn females and take care of all of them. It's just not in me. That's not my thing. It's not that I can't handle it. It's just not my thing, man. I'm not in it for the whole sex aspect. And see, Polite is not in it for the sex aspect. You see this brother teaching the children various language, man. Various languages. You know, the health aspect, man, all type of aspect. You see them, you don't see them struggling. They in nice homes making videos about how you can get a nice home. They're working the magic. You know, Polite came out with a video that, you know, no a so-called conscious person should be broke. A spiritual conscious person shouldn't be broke. I've seen a couple other videos on YouTube saying how, you know, spiritually conscious individuals should not be broke. And I agree with that. But then again, well, Djehuty, since you're an agent, you know, you're going to back up Umar, you're going to back up Polite, you're going to back up Sarasu. No, it ain't that, man. It ain't that. I've been with Umar. I know where Umar's heart is at. This brother went to the schools of the world, took the knowledge, you know, and did his own thing, you know, cultivated his own thing from that, and got some hell of an information to share with people, man. It's just amazing, man. It's just, but see, I didn't learn, you know, I didn't learn a lot. And, you know, that whole leader thing, I'm not with that because the people that you would so-called be leading, those will be the ones who would tear you down. So I'm not with that leadership stuff. I will lead you to yourself. I get your emails. Djehuty, what are you eating the average day? I'm not telling you. Because then you're going to come up with the Djehuty Maat diet. Because people are looking for someone and something to follow. See, and I'm going to make you follow yourself. You're going to create your own dietary regimen that works for you. Djehuty, what is your belief system? I'm not going to tell you. Because all you're going to do is embrace it. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to be unknown. I want to be left alone. My life is for me. You create your life. So I don't tell you certain things. I don't have anything to hide. I just know people, man. I just know people. And I just don't want to add, you know, to that dynamic, man. The Atkins diet, you know, the Dick Gregory Bohemian diet. I don't want all that. That's like, you know, Christianity, you know, Jesus Christ, the followers of Jesus. I don't want no followers. I don't want people, you know, talking in my name and then doing opposite of what I do. I don't want that. I saw that in religion. I saw people doing things that, you know, the leader was said to have not done. That's like the Christians, man. You see them doing all type of stuff that the character Jesus just didn't do. And we're trying to justify it. You know, my whole thing, look, man, if you cannot live up to the level of the so-called righteous leader or guru or Messiah, whatever the person is, if you cannot live up to the level of that individual, don't claim their name, man. But see, people like to claim the name of that which is pure or holy or righteous. That one who has done the work, whether it's male or female. Why, man? I mean, it's like the Muslim cats, man. If Muhammad, you know, means one who is worthy of praise, I mean, man, why you want to wear the name Muhammad and you doing stuff that's not worthy of praise? Man, you raping women, man. And your name is Muhammad. You know, you selling dope and your name is Muhammad. You doing a disservice to the name. So that's why I'm out of the world. I'm out of it. Because I know people. I know people. It's like Chris Rock said, in every street in America named in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, there's some violence going on. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Where'd he get killed at, man? Man, they shot him on King, man, on King Street, on King Boulevard. Damn. Damn. Died on the street of the man, the purveyor of nonviolence. It's crazy. You follow Malcolm X and you eat pork. Malcolm didn't eat no pork. So people, man, people, you know, they won't do the work. People want to pray. I want to be a Christian, man. I want to be a Muslim, man. I want to be that. But then you smoke dope. It's like you can't do that and smoke your dope. Well, you know, I smoke dope because you keep you creative and it just. But the one you want to follow didn't smoke no goddamn dope, man. So put the dope down. No, I can't put the dope down, you know. But don't follow me. No. I need to follow. I gotta follow. That's my leader, I believe. You're doing a disservice, man. And people don't care. They don't care. That's why certain people say, you know, we're going to keep the teachings of the Muslim, but we're going to smoke, we're going to drink alcohol, and we're just going to call ourselves this, call ourselves that. You know, we want our cake and eat it too. You know, on that realm there. Because you can. I teach that philosophy, but not on that particular realm. You know, you want to claim something good and bad at the same time. You know, you're a walking contradiction, an unskillful oxymoron. No. I don't want people, I don't want no Djehuty diet and Djehuty this and Djehuty, I don't want all that, man. You know, I want to be unknown, man, you know, private, and I want to impact, man, you know, from behind the screens. You know, I was talking to my sister Q, you know, we had lunch yesterday, and I was just telling her, you know, sis, it's like, you know, I mean, I can record a video every day, you know, I just want to just, you know, I just want to just drop, man, but that's all I want to do. I don't need accolades, man. You know, I receive them every day of my life. And, you know, and I'm appreciative and I'm thankful, but I have to let you know I don't need it. I don't do what I do to get that. I don't never have to hear it because what I do because it's in here. It makes me feel good in here. See, I don't need no worldly compensation. But I know all of these things come because it just comes with the territory. You know, and see, and that's my challenge of dealing with that. You know, the presence coming to me, and I'm thankful and appreciative, man. You know, but as you know, I have to really learn, you know, to acclimate to that, man. You know, because you know, people will show their gratitude, man. You know, especially females, very loving creatures, man. So you know, they send herbs and herbal teas from Africa and in Europe and Mexico. I mean, you know, and it's just like, man, it's just really crazy, man, because I see myself as just who I am. Like I was telling Q, I don't see myself as anything different than how I see myself, how I am. I'm just a little cat in the cut, you know, who just desires to help people, you know, and I do it in my own unique way. I'm not trying to appease anyone. So sometimes you will hear profanity, you know, in my discourses, man. You know, I'm using profanity for purposes of emphasis, man, for purposes of relation to certain people, man, because, you know, I'm dealing with refined people, sophisticated people. I'm dealing with street people, hood people. It's a lot of people, you know, so I don't just keep my message linear. You know, I'm not just trying to just hit one audience to stimulate thought. You know, it's all areas, man, you know, so I can't limit myself, and I won't limit myself for anybody. I just do me. Hell, I'm making a video in a goddamn robe, man. I don't care. You know, I be wearing the pinhole readers, dealing with ignorance. You know, if you look at the glasses close up, you see the holes in them. You see the holes? These are pinhole readers. And I got to deal with stupid people. Man, you look stupid wearing them shades, man. Why you wearing shades in a cut? And the stupid fools don't ask, yo, man, what are you wearing? We know you too smart to be wearing shades. The dummies don't ask no question. They speak before they ask and don't have a clue of what these are and how beneficial they are. They're not shades. They're pinhole readers, and they strengthen the eyes. And when you type as much as myself, or stay on the internet as much as myself, your eyes are at risk for being damaged. See, but when you know a little something, then you know about pinhole readers and you exercise them. And you got the crystals all before you, your big stones that's eating up the radiation. You got your seaweed and your plants around you. I take breaks. And I look at my sacred geometry cards. I do a lot of stuff that people don't know about. Well, make a video about it. I don't want to make a video about it. Because you need to create your own daily regimen. All I can tell you is that I take a whole bunch of herbs, man, every day. I'm 42, chronologically speaking. And I'm straight. I'm straight. My mind works great, man. You know, ain't nobody's business, especially males out there. But, you know, in my office down below, it works great. I don't have no problems in that area. I don't have no problems in this area. I don't have no problem. I don't have poor circulation problems. I don't have vitamin mineral deficiencies. I don't have those problems. I don't have eyesight problems. You don't see, I don't wear glasses. I'm 42. I don't wear glasses. I would never wear glasses. No. I do what works for me. And you may do what I do and it may not work for you. See, herbs is a fraud. Herbs, this pinhole readers are the fraud. They don't work for you like they work for me. So you got to create your own way. You know, if you did the vegan thing and it don't work for you, you got to do what works for you. You may have to implement meat in your diet. But see, you may, have issues with that. I don't want no meat. But it may work for you. I read a lot of people, Tootie, I had to go back to eating meat and I feel better. Well, isn't the name of the game to feel good? You got to do what you got to do to feel good. That's the problem with a lot of people. They don't do something that make them feel good. I am the way that I am because everything I do makes me feel good. I know why I do everything that I do. So much so, and to the point that I can go public with it. There's no shame in my game. I'm free, man. I don't always have to wear a suit, man. I don't always have to, have my hair cut to do a video. I'm not here for that. I'm not here to dress to impress. I'm just here to impart some words to stimulate thought in you and then bounce. I'm not trying to mac you. I'm not trying to attract you. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm straight with my life over here on a solo creep tip. I'm straight. I don't need nothing from you. I'm just talking, man. And when I get through talking, I'm going to go do me. I love doing me. Ain't enough time in the day for me to do me. I'm doing what I want to do. So you got a lot of people who going to try to checkmate you on what you're doing. And what you're doing got you free. These suckers still punching a time clock. We're going to tell you certain things. Oh, you wrong about this. You wrong about that. But yet still you getting the results that you desire. Not results by default, but results that you desire. Because you consciously working your magic. And these guys are the Einstein, the philosopher. They know more than you. Only thing is, they're not going to use their knowledge for themselves. They're not going to use their knowledge, their divine, mystical knowledge, to get themselves free from the plantation gig. They're not going to use it to attract true love or their soulmate into their life. They ain't going to use it for that. They're not going to use it to attract money in order to do certain things, to do more. They're not going to do that. Yeah, you wrong on this, you wrong on that. Baking powder has aluminum, but baking soda doesn't. And they ain't studied what I studied to know that baking soda, like baking powder, both of them have aluminum, and they're using all type of powders to hide the aluminum because it's a waste byproduct. So they give it up over here and don't give it up over there. Just like my friend said about the Alvira deodorant, Djehuty, they're using aluminum, and they didn't broadcast that. They didn't advertise that. It's a scandalous world, man. People will hide things, man, in order to do certain things, man, because people are lazy. They don't care. Well, I mean, if you're using aluminum, don't hide it to tell the people. Or if we tell the people, they won't purchase it. Then, goddamn it, don't use aluminum. It's a scandalous world, man. So every day I'm always working on how can I do my own thing? Because I can only trust me. I'm not about to use no aluminum. I'm going to research. I'm going to always arrive at truth because I'm going to always seek, man. I'm always doing my own thing. I mean, people, man, you know, and that's why I speak so much, because people, I mean, people really are a hell of a resource here on this planet. But, you know, people got a lot of flaws, man. That's why the world is the way that it is, man. If you just study people, you'll be like, man, you know, I see why the world is the way it is, man. And I can see why people look at myself and others as a light. And see, the only difference is what we do with our time and our actions and how we think. That's the only difference. There's a lot of people, they just got flaws. I was talking to a female friend, you know, I mean, man, I never knew that I would grow up and witness, I mean, just attractive, beautiful women. And they single. And I'd be like, like if I was a little boy, I would just look at you and just know you married. You beautiful. Of course, it's linear, but I mean, these women are gorgeous, man, and they're just solo. You know, but you listen to them, and then you understand why. Like, you know, you got a lot of issues, man. And men are not leaving you to really be leaving you. They're getting away from your issues that you won't deal with. That's what's going on. Same thing with men. I mean, these women, man, are not bouncing from you to be bouncing from you per se. It's your attributes, man. It's your issues that you won't deal with. They don't like the issues, man. And you embrace the issues. So you've internalized your issues. So being with you is too much drama. And people who don't want drama, they're going to bounce from you. Women who don't want drama, they're going to bounce from you. And you're going to attract women who do want drama. And then you're going to turn around and say, well, you know, I don't want to be in these type of relationships, man. Drama. Then you got to change, man. And as soon as you change, these women, they're going to leave you. And you don't mind for those type of women leaving you. Now, when you're ready to go over here, and the woman says, I don't want to go over there, I'm leaving you. You want that to make it easy on you. You don't want to be in a situation where you growing and you about to leave and she on a low level. I don't want you to leave me. You can't leave me. I'll cut you. I'll stab you. You leave me. You can't leave me. You don't want that. Hey, you want a woman to say, I'm gone. You leaving me? I'm leaving. This just don't work for me. It's too stale. All right, I respect it, understand that and everything. And just play the role. Boom, let her bounce. Let him bounce. That's what you want. You don't want no craziness. But a lot of people, man, they got serious issues, man. It's like, damn. So a cat may say, you know, I'm going to hang around long enough to hit it because you are physically fine. So I want to hit it. I'm going to hit it. But you fucked up. You got a lot of issues. After I hit it, I'm bouncing. Because I just want the coochie. I don't want the issues. See, what a lot of women don't understand is that, you know, your vagina come with them issues, man. So the dude like the vagina, oh, that's appealing. The issues, oh, hell no, I don't want that, goddamn. I'm not capable of working with that. Now, I'm capable of hitting that kitty cat, but shit, that's it. So the women be like, men just want sex from you. And, I mean, there are a lot of men out there, yeah, they do want sex, but they also want companionship, man. You know, they don't really have time to be dealing with all those issues. You know, they go back to childhood. You know, you're a grown woman. You in your damn late 20s, your 30s, your 40s. You still talking about what your daddy did or didn't do. Your mama and your boyfriend, your girlfriend. When you going to get over that? Like I was talking to my brother Corey. And, you know, Corey was telling me about a consultation with a customer. And, you know, Corey was breaking some things down. Like, you got, like, a lot of issues. And she's like, yeah, you're right. I do have issues. You're my mother this, my mother that. I'm like, Corey said, you're a grown woman. When you going to get over that? I was talking to my wife yesterday. We was having a conversation before I left to go hook up with Sister Q. And I said, you know, babe, there's a lot of people, man, like my cousins. They talk about how they didn't have a particular type of father they desired. That was Veronica Laxmi too. My dad is not a certain way, you know. And these people talk about the parents that they desire but didn't have. But they never think in terms of becoming the father they never had. They never think about becoming the mother they never had. See, you know, it takes certain people, man, that are resilient, man, to be like that. To say, you know what, man, you know, life threw me a couple of lemons, man, in the respect of, you know, a father or a mother or whatever it may be. But, you know, rather than complain about the bitter taste of lemons, man, you know, Man, I threw in some natural sweetening agents, and yeah, I just made me some lemonade, man. And I just sip on, good tasting lemonade, and I'm cool, man. I'm happy, man. It satisfies me. That's what I did. So I'm straight. In other words, I didn't have a father who took me to the ball game and threw ball with me and talked to me and told me about the birds and the bees and yada 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 yada. I didn't have a pops who did that, but man, I got two sons, man, so that's what I do. I do for my sons what I wish my father would have did for me, but didn't do. Now you got certain people out there like that. Now my father just happened to do a lot of things for me, which I passed down to my boys, but then there was certain things that pops didn't do. I don't trip on that. I just compensate, you know what I'm saying? And fill the void, and I do that, for my sons. So they get the best of both worlds. They learn from their grandfather, even though they never met him physically, but they get the best, from him, and they get the best from me, so hell, they're on their way of being better than myself. They got a hell of a head start, because I didn't make any excuses. Even like with my wife, man, I mean, things move fast. I mean, every 18 months, man, she was pregnant. I mean, our stuff was just moving fast. Even the first son just, bop, I was, damn. Hell, I got to get grounded. I got to do some things. I didn't run. I may have taken a step backwards to make a great leap ahead, but man, I didn't run from my responsibilities. I just get my stuff together, man, because I'm responsible, man, for this little human being here, man. He's in this world here, man. This world, has a dark, cruel aspect to it. It's not that way, like overall. I mean, it just is a side to it that's like that. And then you have another side that's beautiful and great and graceful and all these positive attributes, but they're together. You might have to go through the dark side in order to get to the light side. You're going to come across people who grew up in the dark, and will fake the funk on this side, which happens all the time. Tootie, he told me he was conscious. He told me this, and but he got me. He took my money, Or we had sex and then he left. You got to look out. You hear about wolves dressed up or disguised as sheep. You got to look out, man. That's why you got to work on yourself. That's why coming to terms that it's your personal responsibility to create your own spirituality, man. And that's for your well-being, man. It's for your benefit, man. You got to come to terms with realizing that is your responsibility, man. That's not the reverend's responsibility. That's not the imam's responsibility. That's not the rabbi's responsibility. It is not the street guru's responsibility. It is your responsibility, man. All these systems, belief systems, sexual belief systems, that's your responsibility. Because, man, if you embrace a system that came from somebody else, man, that's a formed belief system, man. I mean, you embracing a formed belief system. Then you wonder why it don't work for you, why it doesn't serve your best interests. You got to create your own, man. I mean, today, man, you got the family members, man, like going crazy trying to get in touch with me, man. They don't know where I stay at, They may know I'm in Glendale, but they don't know where. And I got one auntie, she found the store and she'll call down there and they were like, yo, man, your auntie called. And it's like, yo, man, I'm not here, man. Even though they know I'm situated in a certain place, hell, I'm not there. I'm all around. Hey, I love them, but I love them from afar. I got a new family around me. Gump, that's my brother. Todd, Corey, Ro is my sister. Satori is my sister. Tamara is my sister. So I got people, Hispanics, Armenians, it don't matter. These people are my family. They help me at where I'm at with my wavelength. And we all on the same level. So we're making beautiful sounding music. We got a orchestra. We all doing different things, which is equivalent to playing different instruments, but we making a nice sound. You see, if I go with my blood people, man, it's going to be a disastrous sound. Stuff going to be off cue, sounding crazy. No. Mm-mm. So you got to get strong, man. A lot of y'all still in relationship. You know you shouldn't be with the person, man, but you didn't develop your willpower, man, because, I mean, I mean, somebody else's vagina got more power than you, man. That's stopping you from doing what you know you need to do. All the stuff you say you want, right? You got that power within you. But then something that's on another person's body got more power than you. You give it more power and allow it to block you from getting the things that you desire, from doing the things you desire to do. Man, you know, you see my woman, man, you understand why I'm still sexing her. No, you weak, homeboy. You weak. Don't you know that that beautiful, attractive, spiritual woman got a vagina too, and breasts and all these other female embellishments? Don't you know that? Don't you know that this good conscious man, that he possessed genitals as well too? You act like only the degenerate possess a penis and a vagina. I'm staying with them because, you know, if I get with a spiritual man, he ain't gonna, you know, if I get with a spiritual woman, she ain't gonna have no vagina. You know, if I get with a spiritual man, you know, spiritual men don't have penises. Spiritual men don't have sex. You act like, is that the case? I mean, people really act like that's the case. So that's why I'm staying with the degenerate female, you know, because degenerate women got vaginas, man. You know, righteous spiritual, they don't have no vaginas, man, and I like vagina. What? You know, only thug men got penises. You know, good men don't have no penis. That's absurd. That's absurd. So you can't use sex as no excuse. You become hell of a spiritual and have sex. Hell of a conscious have sex. You become raw food is vegan and have sex with a vegan. Raw food is man or woman. That's crazy. To use crazy excuses to stay with certain people that's unhealthy for you, man. Relationship is insalubrious, man. And if you see how my woman look, man, you understand why I'm still hitting that. No, you weak, homeboy. Because they got some beautiful, fine, attractive women, and they got some handsome, fine, you know, spiritual men. And that's really across the board in whatever you believe in. You know, if you're into politics, you're going to find a woman or a man that's into politics. If you're religious, you're going to find a man or woman into religion. If you're spiritual, you're going to find a man or woman into spirituality. All these subjects, you will find both sexes there. You know, so if you're into spirituality, you don't have to stay in religion. You act like only religious women got vaginas. Like spiritual women don't have vaginas. Like Buddhist women don't have vaginas. And women into Confucius, you know, agnostics don't have vaginas. That's absurd, man. It's absurd. It's crazy. No. You can get out of a bad situation, a bad union with an unhealthy person. It just doesn't mean that you don't love the person, but you just recognize that being together with that person is unhealthy. Now, there's some good aspects, but there are more bad aspects. There's some healthy aspects, but there are more unhealthy aspects. And you guys are just not mature enough, or for whatever other reason, that you guys cannot overcome it. It's like astrology. You know, oh man, we got a lot of squares in our chart. We got a lot of oppositions. Well, what that mean? It ain't gonna work. No, we just got too many oppositions, Djehuty. Hey, it's too many squares, man. You know, the squares is just, that's a hard aspect. You know, that's man, it just ain't gonna work. Man, astrology does not compel; it only impels. So cut the bull, man. Cut the bull. You weak, man. Cut it off. See, and just be truthful with yourself. You know, you worried about who she gonna be having sex with after you. Yeah, it may be good, and your mind is like, well, damn, it's good. You know, well, the cat gonna be hitting that and getting my pleasure. That's mine. Who he gonna be screwing? That belongs to me. That's my ling ham. That's mine. I wonder what other female he gonna be making moaning and screaming like that. And people play in their heads, man. And that's why a lot of people will stay around, trying to protect their sexual interest. That's all people are doing. You know, man, I know she's no good for me, man, you know, but the sex is out of this world. No, homeboy, you protecting your sexual interest. Now, she's not wife material, she's not mother material, which are two very important aspects. You know that, and you still sexing her up. See? Because, see, you haven't created your code. You know, man, I'm not having sex with any female that cannot be my wife or that cannot be the mother of my children. Those are my standards, and I'm not bending them or breaking them for nobody. You haven't created that code for yourself. So anything goes. I know a lot of men right now, and they're in relationships with quote unquote unconscious women. Brother Djehuty, man, my old lady, man, she's cool, but she feeds my children, man, chicken and fish, man, and I be trying to tell her, man, that stuff is just not good for them and everything, so I put them on the mucus buster, this and that and everything, but she just keeps on, doing a bad thing, man, so it's like it's defeating the purpose. And man, it's just my little man got this problem, man, and I tried to explain to my old lady, and she still, took him to Jack in the Box, man. And I saw my little man eating fries, man, and drinking soda, man, and just like, she's feeding it, man. I mean, but what you expect, man? First of all, you know what? What you gonna do about it? First and foremost, man, what you gonna do about it? I mean, what you gonna do about it? And a lot of these dudes, they knew how she was. See, a lot of men don't like to hear this from me. I mean, you knew how that particular female was. In most cases, the cats be knowing, like, God damn, nigga, she bad in the mud. Shit. And the physical, it just, it knocks you off your square. You just, you ain't thinking of it. You thinking down there. You looking at the hips, man. You looking at the thighs, man, and the breasts and the face and the hat. That's what you looking at. And if you roll out with her and you talking to her on the phone or, at a restaurant, what have you, I mean, she telling you some stuff about herself. Like they say, man, when people open their mouths, their brain is on display. And after 15 seconds, man, you should be able to know what's on a person's mind. Basically meaning you should know, their level, their wavelength. You're supposed to know that. 15 seconds after the person open their mouth and speak it, man, you're supposed to be like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with here. I mean, that's if you really on top of your game. A lot of people are not, so it take 15 hours, 15 days, 15 weeks for people to know about certain people. But a lot of cats, man, they know. They know, man, and they do that thing, and the woman gets pregnant, and now they stuck, man, and it's they're not really happy with the person. I mean, the sex is great, the woman is, she doing all that stuff that cats like, so a lot of dudes like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that, but I like this. It may just be one thing. I like the sex. She's a monster with the blowjob, man. Man, she can lick, she can do this, and you stay there with her just for that one thing, man. All these other areas are unmet, unfulfilled, and you think you can get happiness from that? Mm-mm. I mean, nobody's perfect, man. But still, you got to be equally yoked. You gotta be, man. I look at my wife, man, and we just there on the same wavelength, man. No friction on how we raising the children, and my wife, all the meals she prepared, it's in accord, with our dietary regimen. The learning, the teaching. Like I can be over here, like I spent the night over here. Sometimes I come over here, I stay late. I have a room back there. I just spend the night here. I don't have to worry about what's going on in my house because I already know my wife is taking care of business. I come on the next morning, the children run, hey, daddy, they all on me and everything. Life is great, man. So I have a security, man. As a Taurus, that's very important. So I have a contentment. I have a satisfaction, you see. And so that's what helps to keep me grounded, man, the security. I got to know when I'm on the road that if my wife stay behind, that everything is straight. I got to have the same thing with the business, D Health Store. I got to know everything is straight, you see. So I make choices that are going to give me things that I desire so I can be content, so I can feel good. Because when I'm content and feel good, and when I'm doing my thing, I can do it well. You see what I'm saying? My mind don't have to be, there, what's going on in California. I'm out in Virginia, New York, or Atlanta, Georgia. I don't have to worry about what's going on in Cali. I know what's going on. You see? So I specifically went after a certain thing. I don't care how you look. It's just certain things that I require. You just got to know how to cook. You just got to. You got to understand the importance of nutrition. It's just certain things you just got to do. You can't just give me no sex. You can't do that. And a lot of males out there, man, they slaves to sex. And you got women out there that will mouth off and just dudes just put their head down. Why? Because they piss her off, she ain't gonna give them none. And that's what they there for. Because they want some. I mean, just selling out, man. Selling out. Then she gets pregnant and you know, she's unconscious. So what the hell you think she's gonna do to your children in an unconscious state? I mean, what the hell do you really expect? Man, you know, man, I try to tell her about this and that, and she won't do it. Well, she's unconscious. What the hell you expect, man? She don't believe in not eating meat. You know, so you think she gonna turn around and do that to her children? You know, when a female thinks that she knows best, right? Mother knows best. That's what she gonna do. I ain't giving my children that moringa milk, that rice milk, almond milk. I'm giving my baby infant milk. She thinks she's doing the best thing for that child. But totally, she's hurting the child. Yeah, we know that, but she doesn't. But you chose her. So you have to take responsibility for your choice. See, you can't tell me there ain't no banging spiritually conscious or vegan or vegetarian or raw foodist women, or you know, you can't tell me that doesn't exist. It's hard, man. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. That don't mean it doesn't exist. You know, it just may be challenging. I mean, the odds may be hellified. But how much faith do you have? How bad or how much do you want it? I mean, that's what it boils down to. You know? My man, you know, he like his meat. You know, I was vegan to you know, for 4 months. And, you know, my man, you know, he just wanted me to make spaghettis and fried fish. And so I just got back on it. You happy about that? No, I want to be vegan. Why not be vegan? Well, my man, I mean, they may not say it, but it's like, yo, your man is a degenerate. He wants to stay on a low vibration. Yeah, he don't want to go to the lectures with you. No, that's true, he don't. I want a man that will go to lectures with me and be vegan and you know, and just do a lot of things that I want to do that will cultivate my spiritual awareness. Then why are you with this cat? Well, I was just hoping he would change and just trying to be patient. How long you been with him? Oh, we've been together for 9 years. When you start your soul journey, become conscious of it. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and he ain't changed yet. Hey, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but guess what? He ain't gonna change. In most cases, he ain't gonna change. So, you're in the valley of decision. What you gonna do? I mean, what you gonna do? See? So, you know, certain females gotta think like, damn, you know, he a meat eater, he smoke weed and watch the game, drink beer, you know. But, you know, he know how to hit that spot. So you're gonna sacrifice everything else because you know how to hit that spot. And when you come down from that spot being hit, then what? Are the other areas of your life orgasmic? I mean, people got a lot of choices to make, man. People got a lot of choices to make, you know. But, you know, your spiritual walk is yours. I mean, it's yours, man. If you don't define it, man, somebody else will. And if you allow it, you can't fault nobody else but yourself. It's your life. It's your life, man. It's your life. And you got to live it for you. And you got to live it on your own terms. You got to live it on your own terms. Like they said in the movie, The Warriors. Cyrus was right. It's out there. But all we got to do is figure out how to go get it. He said the word steal. You ain't got to steal anything. All you got to do is just find out how you're going to acquire it. It's within reach. It's within your realm. But how are you going to acquire it? By playing follow the sheep or follow the leader? Playing go along to get along? Is that how you're going to get it? Not thinking for yourself? Not rocking the boat? How you going to get it? How you going to get it? Do you want it bad enough? How you going to get it? How much time you going to put aside for it? How much time? See, you got questions to ask yourself. You have questions to ask yourself. So get to asking.